Hello, everybody. We're live here at the Mechanics Institute Chess Club in downtown San Francisco. It's a beautiful night out there, but more than 100 people, or about 100 people, are here in the rooms on the 4th floor downtown San Francisco to play chess. And I'm joined here this evening by Mechanics Institute Chess Room Director Abel Talamentes and the accountant for the Mechanics Institute, Jen. And remind me of your last name again? Desideri. I wanted to make sure I pronounced that
We've only
correctly.
been working together 2 years.
So, yeah. Terrible. That's okay.
She gives you no breaks.
No. So we're here to talk about chess, and we're here to talk about the Mechanics Institute and about running and marathons. And
so this isn't a marathon. This is a chess marathon.
this is a chess marathon. It's not a running marathon.
So there's a relation, right? So just as we do our Tuesday night marathon, one of the things we thought would be good to showcase, and we've done it in the past by bringing in, people of the Institute. And for those that don't know, because there's still always people that don't know, the Mechanics Institute is not just a chess club. It's housed within a building. It's like kind of a full-on cultural arts center. It's a membership library. We do events, literary events. And so we've brought in people of the Institute, our events
And
directors
we'll
been here.
continue to
and
do that.
Strategic partnerships person was here, and today we're lucky to have the Institute's accountant, Jen here.
Desideri.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming on. And
You're welcome.
The thing that's fun about learning about Jen is that, one of the things that we're kind of really proud of is our club, right? And, we have over 100 people playing the tournament. They love the game. They're passionate about the game. And this is kind of the place where they come and express that, passion and play and have fun. But in a similar way, there are a lot of other activities that, people gravitate to, and kind of it's an extension of themselves. And, getting to learn more about Jen, she's very actively involved in running. So kind of tell us about kind of what you do and, what you take part in and why. And then maybe we can talk about kind of the relation to chess.
So I am a member of a running club that completes half marathons across the country and the world.
Well, so you've been out of the country to run a marathons.
The half marathons.
Half
yes.
marathons.
Yeah, and I am currently working on running a half marathon in 50 states.
And we were talking about chess players who try to play chess in 50 states.
And I think that's a wonderful idea to
be
traveling the country just to play a chess tournament.
Right.
And,
similar idea, very similar.
Yeah.
How else does chess strike you as being like running, maybe? Competitive?
Competitive for sure, but also a community of people that have, different backgrounds, different other interests, different jobs, different ethnicities, anything like that. But coming together
Diversity.
for a sole interest that brings people together. It's social activity. It's something that people have passion for. So it brings people together, and I think it's the same with running. It's a common interest that.
I ran a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. I could run. I would have been good at a marathon. I wouldn't have been the fastest, but I would have definitely made it to the finish line.
That's all that's important. It's not about speed. It's just not collapsing.
Right. So
sometimes.
Have you won any marathons?
No. No. I am just there for the sole pleasure of running. I'm not really too competitive in that sense. I do like to sort of be average.
Right.
But it's more about the fun and the camaraderie. And
and the travel.
And the traveling, yeah.
Right. So where's the next one? Where's your next marathon?
So my next half marathon. So normally I've only done 2 marathons, and that's it.
How many miles is a half marathon?
A half marathon is 13 miles. 13.1 miles.
13.1 miles.
I have 4 states left. So
wow.
So I will be in Vermont, New York in June.
So you've ran in 48 states?
46 states.
46 states.
Actually, did you guys talk about the chess player that that was attempting to play tournament in every state?
I mean, I don't personally know him, but I do know of one chess player who I don't know, somehow I got connected with within the first 3 or 4 months that I was working here at the Mechanics. And he was attempting to do a chess tournament in every state. And I believe he accomplished that goal when I first talked to him.
He called like a couple of months ago and said, hey, just wanted to thank the person that supported me doing that and blah, blah, blah. And so I told you about it. But yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, how about that? How about every country in the world?
Doing a chess tournament in every country? Running. Yeah, well, it's a little hard to get
Have you been internationally? Have you ran?
Yeah, I've run in maybe 11 countries or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
And not just running. She also does stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one stair climb.
I had no idea that like climbing stairs is actually an event. Like
running upstairs, like running up the Empire State Building.
Salesforce.
Yeah.
So.
Are you competitive in that too?
I am actually a little bit competitive.
Okay.
I will say that I've placed a few times and then I didn't place and it was sort of disappointing.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Not a good runner, but a decent stair climber.
Wow.
If there's the thing.
Wow. So is it just running up the stairs? How about running down the stairs?
You take an elevator. You're done.
Because I think I'm the champion at running down the stairs.
Yeah. You got to be good at something, right?
So it's only going up.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. That's
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Why would you take the stairs down? You're done. There's no.
But taking the stairs down can be pretty brutal, right?
Yeah, it can be bad on your knees.
Yeah, knees and sore quads.
So, what about the Mechanics Institute? What do you do here at the Mechanics Institute?
So I am the accounting manager, and I pretty much take care of everything from the day-to-day transactions to the financial statements to reporting
for the whole building
and taxes and for mechanics. Yeah.
Right. So. Well, that not just the chess club, you folks out there. It's the library and the rented office space and the storefronts as well as the mechanics. You've got a big job.
It's a huge job, and actually in the chess world, when people say Mechanics Institute, all they think about is the chess club. Like they don't even know. So like even when we played Marshall, even people from Marshall, like they didn't know that the Mechanics Institute had anything other than
a chess club.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting because
it's interesting for people to know. It's good for people outside of mechanics to know that stuff. Yeah.
It's a great place to be.
So you have some interest in chess as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My dad taught me how to play chess when I was about 7 or 8 or so. I'm definitely not in any way good. But,
Same here.
But I have fun. I've beat a few people.
Right. Well, that's the fun.
Who are clearly worse than I am, but
That's the fun. I mean, really, a lot of people just want to learn how to play chess just so they can beat their best friend.
Yeah.
That's a big motivating factor for people to learn chess. So who do you want to beat at chess? Is there anybody in the room?
No, I'll never get there. No. Really, what I should do is I should take one of your classes.
You're definitely welcome.
After 2 years of being here.
You're definitely welcome.
Yeah.
Nick, you'd get something out of Nick and my class, I think. Yeah. Maybe Nick's class, Nick DeFermian, we're talking about Nick DeFermian, he's a grandmaster, everybody knows that. He teaches a free class here at the Mechanics Institute very popular class on Wednesday nights, which is, I substituted for him in that class. It's very difficult to teach. Because of the skill disparity. And I watched Nick teach a couple of his classes, and he does it really well. He's able to do it in a way that I found to be frustrating. I mean, I just found it to be a frustrating problem. The class I teach is a little bit more advanced players.
It'd be the equivalent as a runner.
So that wouldn't be me. No.
Like you'd be like teaching a total novice, like if I wanted to be a better runner against someone that goes to a running club and they want to, like, how do you go between the two? It kind of takes a certain skill set.
It'd be like trying to get someone who's never run before to sign up for a 5K and convince them they can do it.
Right.
Yeah, and they have to have a lot of like self-belief to even attempt something like that, because like they're clearly novices. They have to be motivated by other factors.
If I was a runner, I'd try to model myself on those guys that run in their bare feet. I love that.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few that I see when I'm running.
Why would you
but
do that?
they say that bare feet running is actually the natural and normal way to do it.
There's a guy who won the Olympic marathon running in his bare feet.
So when I spent a lot of time in Mexico, a lot of dirt road, at least, you know, where the city where we were at, and there was this kid, this was when we were younger, like, you know, 7, 8, he would walk in bare feet, but like amidst rocks. He walked like it was just accustomed to it. Like, I could not fathom how he could do it. And I guess, you know, the feet with the right, you know, training, or, you know, you get used to it, it must be pretty resilient, because. Like,
yeah, if you spend your people asking you.
Yes, I have. Born and raised in San Mateo.
In San Mateo, okay, all right. So you're local.
I'm a local.
I was. Where were you born, Abel?
San Jose.
San Jose. You're local.
Where were you born?
I was born in New York.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Can see that a little bit.
Oh no.
Can't take the New York out of the boy, right?
I guess not.
No.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're dealing with in the chess world is, you know, with a lot of sophisticated technology we're using to bring the games home, but, you know, sometimes the technology sort of gets abused in terms of, you know, fair play online, and, you know, we have some issues that, you know, are in the chess world. I'm curious, is there an equivalent in the running world where, like, how would one go about sort of violating fair play in terms of running?
Like cheating?
Like cheating.
Cheating
like
during
cutting,
a race?
Cutting in line.
The proper term in the chess world is violating
Okay,
fair
well,
play.
the proper term in the running world is cheating.
Well, I always thought the funniest one in running was the person who joins the race with like a mile left, you know, joins suddenly appears, you know, suddenly appears out of nowhere.
Like, what's a sophisticated way like people would do it?
Sophisticated? Sometimes they're not very sophisticated. You can cut a course if there's a turnaround that doesn't have a mat that records your time. So, or there have been instances of people who are in the middle of a race, and then there's timing mats along the way.
That's interesting.
And
See, I didn't know that, a timing mat.
They miss a mat. And you know they probably like took a bike or disappeared
chips, right?
or
Because you use chips.
Get a ride, yeah. So there's a chip on your bib,
right?
And depending on the level of the race, there might be timing mats, you know, every 3 miles or so.
I had
like
no
that you
idea.
Have to pass.
That's how you.
Those are your splits. So if someone hits the 3 mile mat, but then doesn't hit the 6, and then maybe hits the 9, you tend to wonder what happened at mile 6.
Right.
And then especially, and then they calculate the time between mile 3 and 9, and you can figure out, well, that person can't run a 5-minute mile. So there's probably something that happened there.
Does that have an echo in the chess world?
It does. And
How?
Sort of what's happening is, you know, the old tried and true way of cheating is, you know, you go to the bathroom, use your phone to have an engine give you the best move. So what players can easily do, especially, you know, players that play a lot, is they'll memorize a position, and then they'll go into the bathroom, open their app, put that position in, and then they'll see what variations you should do. You know. But nowadays, people have found ways where they don't have to leave their table to cheat, and people are finding ways to transmit moves from their seated position, something in their pocket, and so that's kind of like the new thing that's going on. And, you know, tournament directors have to take a little bit more aggressive approach. I mean, we have a Garrett scanner that we got to deal with that if there's any suspicion of that, because even people that do that or want to go that route, the scanner will pick it up, but it's just having the will to, you know, go that route. And it's not easy for, you know,
And who investigates that or keeps track of maybe a particular person that notoriously...
Yeah, so what will happen is, based on someone's play, based on their rating and the playing history, there's a certain expectation of what they're going to do and how many times they're able to play optimal moves and what have you. But using, algorithms, people can look at someone's game and say, this 1,500 player is actually playing at grandmaster strength.
Sure.
And the likelihood of that happening it's beyond.
Yeah, we have the MIT mathematicians, believe it or not, working on that work on this problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
A guy named Ken Reagan.
Yeah. So and actually that person
is a grandmaster as well, chess grandmaster.
Yeah. He's like the chess investigator.
Yeah, he really is.
And he was actually we had an issue and we looked into it. And
we've run him up the flagpole.
Yeah. So yeah, and and unfortunately, it's something that chess world has to be aware of, and it's unfortunate because as technology gets better, the way people cheat is tougher, and it just ruins the integrity.
When you cheat, you're only cheating yourself, right?
Well, especially I would imagine in running and chess, where it's not like there's $1 million payoff.
Right. A lot of people just do it for the glory of bragging on social media or talking to their friends about how great they did,
or how good a cheater they are.
Right. Most people don't admit it, but mostly it's about bragging rights, and I guess that's sort of the reality of our world now.
Yeah.
But like even as a runner, though, a lot of running is and we've talked about it and showed me about it, how it's kind of like a more personal kind of a self. It's something you do for you to challenge yourself.
Right.
And
unless you're running up the stairs, then you're trying to win.
Yeah, I've actually been doing the stairs lately.
99 stairs to the chess club.
120 to the 5th floor.
Well, Jen's on the 5th floor, we're on the 4th floor. Yeah.
At the 3rd floor, I feel like I should have been on the 4th floor. So.
Yeah, feeling the burn.
Yeah, that'll mark my next level of competency. But it's interesting how the running world and chess world, we almost have like similar problems, just in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for stopping by and joining us. Maybe one of these days, since I know you can play, because we were actually at a department meeting, and then I'm sitting across from her, and then she makes a move, and then I make a move back, and then next thing you know, we got a full-on game going.
And for about 5 minutes until you ate my queen.
Until I ate my
you should have come in and consulted me.
I'm really not that bad.
I actually think you and Paul analyzing a game, that would be cool.
You want to stay for a game while I go over?
Sure, I'll watch.
Perfect. Okay, yeah,
Perfect.
Stay for as long as you want.
And observe.
He's Abel has to go, but we'll run through a few games, and you're welcome to stay as long as you want. So, okay, so out there, folks, is round 5 of the Tuesday night marathon, and we've got the top 8 boards in the open section, and in the top board is board 9 in the AB section, and in the under 1600 section, we have the top board in that section too. That's our board 10. But right now, let's look at Stearman Winslow, old age and treachery versus youth and brilliant youth. Stearman is white and Winslow is black. And okay, so we have this is called, by the way, this is called the Sicilian defense when black plays this move. It's called the Sicilian defense, and it's asymmetrical. And so it's a way for black to try to fight for the initiative right from the beginning. And both players are, white's bringing out his pieces, which you need to do in order to get anywhere. And the bishops get traded. That's an even trade. And white, that's an illegal move. There's something wrong here with, there's actually some mistakes were made with the technology, but we have a legitimate position now. And both players are developing. The white knight comes forward. And black is voluntary. This is a very unusual move, I think. The black is voluntarily letting his pawns get doubled. Normally, I would expect black to take here on d5. Knight takes d5. When black castles, white has a chance to cripple black's pawns by taking on f6, forcing black to have a double pawns here. So I'm not sure what Josiah is thinking about, but bishop takes f6 now looks like the indicated move. If pawn takes, this black pawn is weak, and white can bring the rook to d1 and gang up on d6. If he takes the bishop, same thing. Knight takes bishop, pawn takes knight, and rook d1. So I'm not really sure what's going on here, but the game is young. Let's move on to board 2. Do you have any questions?
Just following along.
Okay.
As much as I can.
Okay.
Thanks.
This is Ethan Boldy versus, he's a kid. I'm not sure exactly how old, 13 maybe, 12 or 13. And playing Kyron Griffith, who's a very, very strong player. He's one of the top-ranked players in the tournament. I think either first or second. And this is a slow opening here, where neither player is really engaging. It's a King's Indian, what's called a King's Indian reversed. And black plays a kind of an aggressive setup. And white goes for symmetry with this pawn move. But this locked up center is, and black immediately, this black bishop on g7, which was on g7, goes here. Black wants to trade this bishop because it's locked in by its own pawns. So this is a good move strategically. And this exchange is favorable for black. And this, again, black is trying to take a piece that controls d4. This, and this is an interesting, I'm not sure about this exchange, but either way, if black took on f3, it would be the same result, a white knight being exchanged for this black bishop. So, white is probably preparing to play pawn to move the knight at f3 and play pawn to f4. The game is still, black wants to play pawn to f5. The black knight is ready to go into d4. This white bishop is not a very good piece, and that's why black maybe has a slight advantage here, but it's too early to call. And this game, this game has gone very far. This is a 12-year-old versus a strong, these guys are playing quickly. This is a Caro-Kann defense. The Caro-Kann is this move for black. You remember the Sicilian defense was c5. This is called the Caro-Kann. There were two players. One was named Caro and one was named Khan. And so that's how the opening gets its name. And both players are bringing their pieces out, and nobody's lost anything yet or done anything horrible. And following relatively normal plans here. And this is actually a risky strategy for black, castling on this side. I think a safer strategy is for black to castle on the same side that white did. And the reason is because white can develop a very strong attack on the king side, sometimes with pawn to g4, pawn to g5. But that's not what's going on here yet. and black is using the d5 square to. This has gone actually quite well for black. So, if black wants to play safely, he could play queen to e4 and then trade the queens. Black has maybe a slight advantage in the endgame because of the black knight has a strong d5 square and white's queen pawn is isolated from it's an isolated queen pawn. And this pawn at h5 is not easy sometimes to keep defended, but black decides to attack. And, but now he's offering the exchange of queens, okay. So he took my advice. This is a good position for black, but white plays d5, and that's a good move. I think that if black wanted to keep some advantage, maybe he had to play knight going back to f6 to play knight to d5, or stop white from playing d5, because it looks to me like white frees his game considerably by playing pawn to d5. And black gets this move in. And so if this pawn moves, or if the pawn at b2 takes on a3, or moves the knight to c3 check, forks the rook and the king. That's called a fork. Is there forks in running?
Fork in the road?
Fork in the road, yeah, fork in the road.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not quite.
So white attacks part of chess is keeping the material balance and not losing anything. And both of these players have played conservatively enough that nobody's lost anything yet. And white's thinking. So rook b5 suggests itself, rook to the b5, where it attacks the pawn at b7. But it's a position that's got dangers for both. He played, see, he's listening to me, rook b5. Okay, so this game is still in the balance. Let's go on to board 4. They can't come in this room. This is strong A player, Felix, versus master Natalia Soto. And I like the way she plays chess. She's a very aggressive player. She has an aggressive style. And so Felix goes his own way. Somebody's trying to get in this locked office and they can't get in, and we're not going to let them in. So even though there's a sign on there, there's actually a sign that says door locked.
And what does that sign say?
That probably says
the same
something
thing.
similar, yeah. So Felix goes his own way in the opening, and we have a fairly standard kind of game here. I'm not sure about black playing knight d7. E6, pawn to e6, and then taking on d5. And also after white plays pawn to h4, it was possible for black to play c5 right away. But black felt necessary to play h5 first. And so kind of maybe falls behind a little bit. And knight d7 is a little passive. All right, well, the game is still far from over. Here's strong expert Ivanov. Who's new prodigy? I don't know. Nicholas Wang, playing on board. What's he playing on? He's board 3 versus Carlos Davila. He's beaten a couple of masters, or 3 masters in this tournament already, or two or 3. Here's Ivanov, strong expert, versus Jason Childress, who his rating is, let's see, expert. These are 2 good expert chess players. And it's a center counter defense. This is black plays pawn to d5, that's called a center counter. And when white takes, if black takes with the queen, the white knight can come to c3, attacking the queen and forcing it to move again. Black chooses a different, but takes with the queen on d5 anyway, and white gains this tempo. But black has a free range of development. White has to play very actively to get an advantage here. And I don't know a lot of opening theory. So this looks to me like a waste of time, bishop check and bishop c4. This is a useful move for black. So right away, I'm not convinced about white's play here. And this pawn to g4, I don't necessarily like that with the kingside castling, because it exposes the king a little bit here. And I don't think black is ready to play knight takes g4 and sacrifice a piece for 2 pawns. And going back to g6 looks correct. White plays knight e5, and now rook d8. And that's another move I'm not sure of. Maybe knight d7 looks possible. Just develop the knight. But for all I know, this could still be book, and I wouldn't even know it. So, all right. So this game is in progress. Nothing really dramatic has happened. Nobody's pulled ahead and is leading by, a nose or whatever you say in running. What do you say in running? Setting the pace?
Sure.
Setting the pace. Okay. All right. This is Master Michael Walder versus strong expert David Askin. And so I go back to the beginning usually, and so we can get a sense of how it's another Caro-Kann defense, and white seizes the center, and then we get this very similar to the Carlos Davila game that we were looking at, actually. In fact, it's almost the same, except for black castles on the queen side this time. That other game, black played knight to f6, bishop out, and castled on the king side. So that's the difference here. This strategy is considered to be a little safer for black. This might be, could very well be book, what they call book, like the players are following a set pattern here. If black plays queen takes c4, rook c1 wins the queen. That's a common little chess tactic. This pawn is not actually in take. So knight to f6 attacks the white queen, and white trades the bishop for the knight, and it's a little unbalanced here. And this is an interesting move. So if black plays bishop takes pawn, first of all, if black plays queen takes pawn, rook c1 wins the queen against the king. If bishop takes, rook c1 is going to set up the threat of pawn to b4, and black is probably going to lose something down the c file. So black wisely goes back here, and white continues this kind of aggressive strategy. The idea is now to play pawn to c6 and sort of try to get at this black king. And black's thinking. So white, I happen to know Michael pretty well, and he's a player that knows a lot of opening theory. So it's hard to get a good game against him out of the opening. So he's strong in the opening. Even for a master, he's exceptionally good in the opening, I think. This is board 7 in the open section, and these are A player versus A player. And let's see how this game goes. This is a different style of opening. It's a Catalan, what's called a Queen's Gambit. Well, now it's like a ready opening. There's so many chess names, openings. I don't know them all. Different players played different things and their names attached to them, or they were played in a famous town, London, the London system, or the English opening, or the French defense, or, it's involved, Knight d7, bishop e2, and so this is White's playing a very quiet, both players are just kind of developing behind the lines and waiting to see what happens. And now White makes a little stab out with the knight, but Black trades it off and then challenges the bishop, which goes back. And now these bishops look like they're going to get traded, and sure enough, they do. And both players are just playing it safe here. This, I don't approve of this move because it creates a problem, a weakness at d4, and also it's kind of shutting in the white bishop at g2 in one way or another. It's not a good move. I'll just say that flat out. Knight to f3, developing the knight into the game a little bit more, and then looks like a much more natural move to me. And this is not this is a move that I think is dubious. And Black trades, and now there's this kind of this hole here at d4. And this is a radical kind of decision by Black, but it's not necessarily bad. Black opens up, if the white knight can end up at d5, that's great. But on the other hand, the black bishop is quite a bit stronger than the white bishop here, which is hemmed in by its own pawns. And so theoretically, I'm not sure about the decision to play pawn to e5 right away, but Black still has some advantage here. Black sidesteps out of the way of the white rook, and White immediately tries to bring the knight into d5. So that this is, but the black rook comes into d4 first. So that's kind of, so there's various possibilities here. Black can play bishop takes the knight on d5, and then maybe maneuver the knight to d6 to block the pawn. And there's various ways that this could go, but as long as Black seems to be a little bit better here, but has to watch. Of course, his queen is hanging. White's threatening knight takes queen. So we assume that Black will see that and do something else. Anyway, this game still is also, the games that we're looking at are all very balanced looking, which is kind of unusual at this point. We're an hour into the round, and everybody's keeping their cards close to the vest. This is the top board. Oh no, this is we're in the open section. This is board 8 of the open section. There's another Sicilian defense and another style of development going on here. Both players are bringing out their pieces, and White's not showing much ambition here, and Black plays d5. This should be fine. This pawn chain is effectively kind of nullifying this bishop here. And White would like to play pawn to f5 and achieve a kind of a typical attack in this position. And it's possible that he'll be able to do that. Again, everybody's keeping their cards to their vest. Nobody's won or lost anything. So it's just chess as usual. Here we have two pretty good players at the top. They're both playing in the A-B section, but I have a good regard for these players. They're both strong A players, and they are. It's a Dutch defense. This is called the Dutch defense. Here we go again with the naming. Knight c3, d5, bishop f4. This is just another form of development. This is a little bit of an eccentric move by Black. Knight b5 is not a threat, even though because black would be able to respond to it in another way by playing knight to a6. So another developing move could have been considered there. But the position is blocked. And when the position is blocked in the middle, both players can kind of get away with things. Black has a good development here, is playing ambitiously. But again, this knight e4, why? If I was black, I would just develop this bishop and castle. To me, a move like knight to e4 can wait. And in fact, it looks like it opens up possibilities for white, like bishop to h5 check, maybe, or some other thing. I'm not fond of that move there. Knight takes e4. It could have waited. Black is trading one knight for another knight, and things are getting, there's going to be mass exchanges here. And black is now already feeling uncomfortable. If he takes with this pawn, with the f pawn, no matter how he retakes, white is going to play bishop h5 check, and black can't play g6 because of bishop takes h8. And that means that no matter how black retakes after bishop h5 check, he's going to have to move his king. And he doesn't want to do that. So this was a mistake. This knight e4 move was a clear mistake. Black should be thinking of developing his pieces. And in this position, black is in trouble no matter how he retakes. Bishop h5 check is going to be very strong. And black king is going to start walking around in the middle of the board for no reason. All right, on board, that was the top board in the AB. We're going to look at the top board in the under 1600 section and then take a 5-minute break. And I'm here with Jen Desideri from accounting, and we've known each other for 2 years, but I can be pretty bad with names sometimes, especially because we're on the air and I say foolish things pretty consistently. So this is okay, so we'll go back to the beginning of this game, and we have a French defense. So we have a French defense, a Dutch defense, and all kinds of, Caro-Kann defenses and Sicilian defenses and so on and so forth. This is a variation of the French defense called the winnower, because there was a chess player named Simon Winnower who played this move. He was an Englishman way back in the... I used to be a chess nerd. Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bishop to d3. So white plays the exchange variation, which is not considered very crucial. And both players just develop their pieces. And bishop e6 kind of asks, knight f4 is a good move. I don't like black so willingly wanting to trade. Okay, so he doesn't. Black plays bishop to g4, attacking the white queen. White gains a little time, but then goes back to e6. So that's, black should not have developed the bishop, I think. And I think white is right to take this. And white gets, there's something in chess called the two bishops. When one player trades a bishop for the knight, you can see that both players have a knight, but one player has two bishops. And sometimes a lot of strong players think that there's an advantage to be had in the two bishops. And this goes way back to world champions and their opinions and stuff. There have been very few players that have preferred the knight over the bishop. The pieces are about equal, and some players like the knight, but most seem to prefer the bishops. Bishops have long-range power. The knights are trickier, so maybe you can make some inference about their personalities. I do, Right, I do. Chess is a psychological game, and inferences like that are valid. So we have a kind of a, I think Black has done well here, and although there's some weaknesses, light squared weaknesses, because the light squared bishop is gone, Black has some light squared weaknesses. And White's setting up a little battery here with the queen and bishop, but it's not going anywhere too soon. White has the possibility of playing the knight into these light squares. And so, and he has the two bishops, so I'm going to say White's a little better. And Jen, I don't know if you're going to be back after the break, but if you're not, you're welcome back. But if you're not, thanks for showing up. It's been great. And we're glad to have other people from the Institute, Mechanics Institute here. And you're welcome back anytime.
I might have to come back. This was a lot of fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah, maybe I learned a little thing or two.
And we did too. Any feedback is appreciated.
Oh, you're doing a great job. That's my feedback.
That's what.
And I watch you. I've watched the last few Tuesdays, and I'll watch again.
All right, good. And you're welcome to show up as well. So thanks. Sure. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Hello, folks. We're back here, round 5 of the Tuesday night marathon, live coverage. I'm here with, I'm FIDE Master Paul Whitehead, here with Judith Stearman, Director of, tell us what your title is.
I'm not a director, I'm General Manager for Youth Outreach and Events.
Here at the Mechanics Institute
Yes.
Chess Club.
Yes.
Okay.
So
right.
I basically oversee the scholastic programs, scholastic events, and regular events. I'm helping out with the regular events.
You sure are.
Logistics.
Yeah. Tell us about what's coming up this weekend.
Well, it's the big one. Yeah, it's exciting. So it's the big one. It's the most fun tournament I think I organized all my life. Besides one suite that I like, but so this is a lot of fun. It's a team tournament, so we pair teams against teams. And then a team has 4 players, and they sit down in rating order, and the highest rated playing against the highest rating on the other team.
It's like the Olympics, right?
Yeah, it's just
Amateur
like
Team West.
Yes, it's the Amateur Team West is the West edition of the regional championships.
Right.
We have North the week after, and we have East on the same weekend, so this coming weekend, and we have the South as well. I think they're early March or something like that, but I don't know.
And we're providing live coverage.
Yes, and that's
with Nick DeFermian.
You and Nick are commenting, and we are broadcasting, I think, the top 20 boards, which
starting on Sunday.
Starting on Sunday.
Around noon, right?
I think the boards are actually going on live all weekend.
Oh, okay, the boards, right.
Yes,
the
and the commentary, you guys will come on Sunday and join in for the interesting matchups. So, yeah. So it's very interesting. I don't think anyone else is actually broadcasting the games over the Team West Championship, Team Championship.
How about DGT? Will they be doing DGT?
I don't think so,
right.
but I will check and let you know.
Okay.
And I'm lucky and honored that I was invited to the North. So I'm going to Chicago the weekend after, and helping out with Glam Planner.
Wow.
And
so you've got half the country.
Yes, I
all
can
you
have
need the South and the West, East, and
yeah.
Wow, amazing.
So I'm very lucky, and Glenn, thank you so much. And Reiko is going there too, so they get the mother-daughter team.
Wow.
So we are very excited to fly to Chicago, and the East is on the same weekend as ours on the West, and the East is the biggest one. It's, I think, around 400 teams with 1,500 players. It's a huge one. They have all these fun side events and and everything. So it's very exciting.
And I'll be attending my first one. Hi, Reika.
Yes.
Reika is saying hi.
Yeah, Reika is staying home tonight. So.
Okay. It'll be my first experience of this event, and I'll be commenting, not playing.
Yeah. And then next year we'll put together a team.
The mechanics will? Okay.
Yes. Well, you should play, Abel should play, and then maybe Nick should play, and then
Nick and Abel.
And then we'll get some board 4.
As long as Nick's on the team.
Yeah, Juan can play. Maybe Juan can be the board 4, and then that's it.
Amazing.
Or worse, 3 board. So yeah. Anyway.
That'll be fun. What else is going on?
Well, that's all in my head these days, and I don't think I can focus on anything else. But the other thing which is coming up is the President's Day week camp here. So anyone whose school is closed, if you want to send here the kids to have fun during the week, we have 9 to 5. Or 9 to 4, sorry about that, 9 to 4. We need a minimum of 4 kids every day to run the camp, but if we get enough signups, we're going to have chess camps here.
Monday through Friday?
Tuesday through Friday, because Monday is a holiday.
Okay.
We're going to be in Hyatt, and then Tuesday through Friday.
Oh, so it's starting right after the West.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
But I have to double check how many signups do we have and things like that. Exciting.
There's so much activity here at the Mechanics Institute. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's happening, and
Yeah, this weekend we had a lot of fun. We had the first quad tournament for our adult and higher rated scholastic players. We actually had 30 players, so we had 5 really strong quads. 6 actually, and then we had a mini Swiss of 6 players.
Right, right, I saw that. Yeah,
and I think the highest rated quad was over 2,000 rated, and even the mini Swiss, the last quad or mini Swiss, Albert Starr was leading that.
So it's a successful,
it's a
completely successful thing. And we're going to be doing that once a month?
I think that's the plan for now.
Right.
We're going to match it with the day that we have scholastic tournaments, so the same tournament director can cover both of the events.
Perfect.
Once we are here anyway, we just take a little bit of lunch break and come back and run the quads.
And they start at 3 and they're over
at 6:30. Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was first time, so obviously there was a little bit of learning curve. Even though we are familiar with quads, we know how to do it, but it's always the first time. So we had around 320, 325 when we started, but next time it will be much smoother. So, but we had a lot of fun, and I was here with Abel starting it because he took over, and then after that it was fun.
Yeah, another successful event here at the club. It's incredible what's been going on here.
Yeah. So anyway.
So. Do you have any other parting words before we get back to the chess commentary?
I don't. I'm really looking forward this weekend. We are making sure all the preparations are done.
Come watch us, everybody.
Yeah, come watch us. I've just ordered the score sheets and the result sheets, and I'm making signs. And
there's some grandmasters playing, right? And international masters?
Yes, there are some grandmasters, international. I think Steven Zirk is playing. I know Peter. I won't be able to announce your last name. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But he's I think a Polish grandmaster.
So we've got some grandmasters. This is going to be exciting.
It's going to be exciting. And then we have some of our mechanics teams, Kyron and Folks and
and teams from Berkeley. It's going to be great.
Yeah, Berkeley Excel Chess sends a team, and I know Weibel has.
Playing?
I don't think so. I think he's busy.
How about Elliot? Did Elliot get on? Okay.
No. But I don't know. I have to double check that. But I know that Weibel sends Weibel has a team. I know Kiki Chen and the Kingsland Chess Club will field the team as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of organizations I see, a lot of organizations sending teams and representing themselves. So I'm very happy
for the glory.
And I'm very thankful for everyone's support and their representation. So we are almost full house. So folks, if you are thinking about joining, this is your last chance. I think we have probably 10-15 more spots left, and then
where do you join up? Chessclub.org?
Yeah, chessclub.org, and then just find more info or register here. I think it's right in the middle, advertising the special event along with the DGT, link to the DGT boards and the link to the broadcast.
Right.
Yep.
So you can follow the action on the top.
Yeah, and hi Philip. I think Philip joined us from Stockton.
Oh, that's great.
Dr. Scheibel.
Okay.
How are the boards doing?
Okay, we're going to look at them right now. We're at the top board. Elliot Winslow is black versus Hosea Stearman. So obviously, if Queen A2, Rook A1. Queen B2, Rook FB1, and looks like the queen is trapped. I'm not sure because pawn to E4. Yeah, then just queen takes E4, so it would be good probably. So black plays Queen A3, and white drops back with the queen threatening the pawn on H6. Which black defends, and white strikes with F4, and black is thinking.
So Josiah is up on time, and it seems like he has a
better position. White is a little better here.
Yeah, that queen is weirdly misplaced there. Is it?
Yeah, black needs to try to get something going here on the queen's side, but it's difficult. I'm not sure how black is going to get some play here.
Okay.
And that's black's problem. It's difficult to generate counterplay.
Yeah.
If you try to play pawn to e6, white's going to probably play pawn to d6, and I'm not sure where black is supposed to play here. All right, so Hosea is pressing on board 1, and on board 2, we had a complicated positional struggle here, where I thought black was doing well here. We left it off around this position. Black wants to play f5, and white wants to play f4. The black knight is very, very strong on d4.
Yes.
And white has been left with his bishop on g2, which is, this is the underlying strategy. The black knight comes in to take up support position, and black decides he's just going to play it positionally. If he plays pawn to f5, white's going to play e takes f5 without even thinking, and that would unleash, at least help unleash the bishop. So black is playing a positional game here, and white trying to give the bishop to g4 and activate it. And this white brings the rook into the game somehow. But this is looking good for black, who has play here on the queen side as well. And that's where he starts to idea of playing pawn to b5. He takes the rook off of the diagonal of the bishop, so that maybe he could think about playing f5. And black is better.
So Kyron is actually teaming up with Keaton Chiara from Los Angeles.
Oh, he's an international master too, right?
Yes, he's an IM Keaton, and so Keaton is coming up and teaming up with Kyron to field a really good team. I don't know who's their board 3, and I know that we just found them a good board 4. So I'm very happy that Keaton is coming up and Kieran is playing.
Yeah, it's going to be a strong team.
Yeah, so, and I know that they are actually prepping, so it's very, very, very fantastic.
Yeah.
So anyway, next board.
Yeah, if you look above the picture of Judith and I, you can see the players in the tournament, one of the tournament halls, a part of one of the tournament halls.
Yeah, and Ethan is one with the green hoodie, and Keaton is the one with the black, next to Elliot. So in the board 3 is an extra game, because Rui had to call in because she had a last-minute school function she had to go to. And so they regretfully had to take a forfeit loss. And we got a game for Nicholas so that he doesn't show up.
Well, Nicholas got schooled. He got schooled in this game. We're going to see how. But this tournament does run late. It starts at 6:30 p.m. San Francisco time. And the last game can go on till 11
So
o'clock.
Atticus, where are you from? Because I'm guessing you're not from here, right?
And so we're going to see how this game finished here. Black took on b2, white plays knight c4, and black centralizes his other rook. White takes here. Black is getting some activity around, and I'm not sure the point of bishop b6. But black is looking very coordinated here.
Yes.
With his forces, and the white king is stepping forward. And already, if king c2, rook c3 check, so he steps up, king b4, bishop e7 check, and
resigns.
And white resigns, and rightfully so. If king b5, rook d5 check is mate.
Yeah.
King b5, rook d5 is mate.
Yeah.
A nice black just swarmed all over white in this game, and went wrong somewhere. I would say, well, black is certainly doing fine here. If is not better, white should have been looking a little more carefully at maybe how to hold this at this point. It still might have been possible, but bishop b6 looked like the wrong move.
We have some new people who are watching us. Mind Crime 1969. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy the show.
Absolutely.
It's his FIDE master, Paul Whitehead.
Yes.
Okay, Felix and Natalia. And Felix is running his time.
We had white playing this unusual h4 move. Black offers the classic Benko style gambit here, which is a good which is actually probably the only strategy after knight d7. But it's good style, and I'm not sure about returning the pawn with b6. Black at least has an open line there, and white doesn't have a pawn to show for it. g4, that's a little burning the bridges here. Rook b8 threatens the pawn at b2. Already white's uncomfortable here. I'm not sure about g4. Black is better developed. g4 was the wrong move here.
So you think you're gonna get Natalia here?
Maybe Natalia will come in and join us and
they seem to be.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. That game's still in the game is still young.
Okay. Sounds good.
We have Ivanov versus Childress.
Yes.
Childress.
Jason.
Childress?
I think he pronounced it Childress, but I have to say Jason.
Okay. Jason.
I've known him for a while now.
Okay.
So I love that he's coming here and playing. So I told him I'm very happy he's coming up. So.
He's been playing here for a while.
Are you sure? There's two Jason Childresses.
Oh, that's
so I think
why.
There's a 1900 and there's Jason with the 2000 plus.
Okay.
And I told him and he's laughing at it. So we have the other Jason Tired. I think he's an expert or an A class A player.
Okay.
And then
isn't this Jason Childress?
No, he's around 2000.
This is an expert player.
Yes, he's an expert player, and I think he played a lot in the South Bay, and he just recently started playing here, so I'm very happy.
So rook e3 is played, and defending the knight at c3, and this is a very volatile situation. If I was black, I would be getting this knight at b8 out into the game pretty soon. But c5 looks threatening. Black is playing very actively here to try to get the initiative. Rook takes d4 as a threat, of course taking on d4 as a threat. And white's moves look good, but it's not clear. If he's losing the pawn on d4, he's going to be in trouble. So, and he's burning a lot of time on the clock. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this game.
But he is the favorite of the game because I think he's like 200 points higher than Jason, right?
100 points higher.
100.
Yeah. So this is not
too bad.
Yeah. And black's plays a nice aggressive move there with c5. Let's see what happens here. But right now we have Walter
against David Askin. That's a good matchup.
Yeah. But
wow.
we were back in this position. White's trying to play c6. And it looks like he could have tried to play c6 right here, but he plays knight d4 first. Maybe the knight's that threatens knight takes. It threatens maybe c6. It brings the knight into the attack, pressures black in different ways. Maybe by reinforcing pawn to c6, and maybe the knight will be brought back to b3. Where could participate in the attack. Black moves the king out of the way. I'm not sure. That avoids possible sacrifices on e6 and gets the king off the c file. But white must
drawish. Right?
Drawish?
No? You see, I'm not good.
No? Well, the material is even, but the position's very unbalanced.
Okay.
There's
double?
There's a knight for a bishop.
Yeah.
That's one imbalance. The other imbalance is the pawn structure.
Yeah.
And so there's still a lot of life left in this thing. So it's not quite drawish yet, I would say. But you can be proved right. We'll see what happens.
No, I probably won't. Okay. Jonah.
This is Bush versus Persitsky.
Yeah.
And this game was going quite well for black. We were back here. Boom, 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 boom. Knight d5. Black plays queen d6. I'm not sure. Black needs to take this knight in some way. He's hoping white plays knight takes f6, but white's not going to do that. White's just going to leave. Finally, he plays bishop d5, but he should have played it the last move, I think. Although, let's see what's happening here. If black plays takes on f4, rook takes d4, and then taking back. So this does not turn out that well for black, I think. And here it was possible maybe for black to play pawn to e4 and then rook to e8. But this white pass pawn at d5 is very strong. Let's see if white can find a way to make it go forward. Black's exchanging queens. I'm not sure that that's right. But if the black knight can go to d6, black will have a good game with the queens off the board. So that's maybe what black is trying to do here. A black knight at d6 is the perfect blockader of the pawns. Yeah. So let's see. Still up in the air. This is
another extra game.
Another extra rated game.
Because guy's opponent called in sick. So we got Walter to play him an extra game. And I know Guy has just flew back from Ireland, I think.
So he's tired.
He's probably quite a bit jet lagged. So seriously, I think he landed today. So.
Okay. Well, right now we've been following this game a little. Black decide, and it's been a close Sicilian, and black decides to take on e4, and that might be a good move. It may be as good as anything here. White takes back, and black puts the bishop on this annoying diagonal, annoying for white. So that's and now puts the knight into d4. This has gone rather well for black, I think. And white's moving the bishop again because the pawn at c2 is attacked. And black is losing no time in bringing this knight in. And, if white plays f5 now, he might be giving up some squares also in the center, the dark squares in the center, but white must be wanting to play f5. Wow. Although possible to play pawn to e5 as well here. And if knight d4, rook comes back to f2.
Very interesting.
I don't know. There's various different things that players can try.
Well, Walter is a lower rated player than Guy, so it's to his...
Yeah, what's Guy's rating? He's
Guy is around 1900, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 1939.
And I think Walter's
1700 roughly. Yeah. So it's...
What I've found is the differences in strength sometimes between A and B players is it's there, but it's variable as well. Yeah. And so...
Especially with outside circumstances.
What?
Especially with outside circumstances, right? If Guy is tired, then it's a good competitive game. Yeah.
And sometimes the younger player too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had this
so top board in the section AB.
Yeah.
So under 2000.
Black
section.
made a blunderous move here and lost the right to castle, and. We followed this. That's why I'm skipping ahead here.
Yeah,
black could not play g6 because of bishop takes h8, and was forced to move his king.
Yeah.
And is regretting having played knight to e4 earlier. White chooses to play f3, but to my mind, playing pawn takes pawn, winning a pawn, looks very good here. And then you can play bishop to d6 check. So I'm not sure why White doesn't do that, but maybe White's feeling like he wants to attack, and there's a good reason for doing that as well. White the black king is in the center, interfering with the development of his own pieces, and if White plays d takes c5, that's an endgame. Black can bail out the pawn down in an endgame. Instead, White feels like he should be able to attack and opens more lines.
Wow.
Black's trying to play g6 to get out of the mess that he's in. White plays queen f2 with, I guess, the idea of playing queen h4 check. And that just manages to work, I think, because I was thinking White could play bishop f6 check, king takes f6, queen h4 check, winning the queen,
yeah.
but Black can play g5.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't quite work. But it's a sneaky idea. White goes back with the bishop. And now the threat is a big threat of queen h4 check and taking on h7. Black sidesteps out of the way. You know, this is why I would have seriously considered taking on c5, because it's money in the bank. I mean, even though White is much better here, sometimes taking a pawn and is the right thing to do. But White's still much better in this position. Black still needs to get his pieces out of the box, and the White bishop is dominating on e5, and so this is very good for Bruce.
So Robert is so funny. Every week he's getting here like very late and last minute, and he's breathing heavy. So I'm always saying, don't get me a heart attack.
Don't worry.
But then he's putting up a good fights every time. So
no, he's a good player.
Yeah, so
he's a good player.
One time, if he's on time, he's gonna beat everyone.
Right. Well,
he's a lawyer. I think.
Yeah, is he tied for first in the AB section?
I don't know. No. Tied for second. Yeah.
Tied for second.
Currently 3.5 out of 5.
Right.
Versus Bruce is 4 out of 5.
And Bruce is having a great tournament. He's 4-0 in the AB section.
That's good.
So, and he's doing great in that game. Yeah. So, this game, Black is missing his light squared bishop, and that's a little sneaky move. If knight takes h7, then bishop takes d8. But that might be better than what's happening here. Knight g6 check is threatened. What is Black going to do? Black is thinking. Black is in serious trouble here. And White's decision to take on e6 way back here. Black mistakenly put his bishop on e6, right here, bishop to e6, and White started to chase it, and Black, this exchange just helped White achieve, and this was a very good exchange.
Yeah.
And White plays a nice, even though this looks like it's working out for Black, Black shouldn't be so eager to open up the game, and especially when he's not developed. And again, knight d7 looks better, or knight c6 maybe. And this just weakens more squares, light squares, and White decides to go for it with this. This is very strong. The threat is knight to come to e6, the knight to come to g6. You know, Black is in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ilya, he has a son. He already won. Nathan already won. So.
The son already won?
Oh, no, actually, I'm sorry. I think he lost. But anyway, he's already finished.
There's a lot of brother combinations and father-son combinations.
So they are
it's
currently
a real family tournament sometimes.
And he's a young boy, so I'm always at on that, like...
he's here past his bedtime.
Yeah, he's way past his bedtime, but I guess
we've had some really young players. I think we've had some even 6-year-olds.
Well,
playing.
He's probably around 8 or 9, but he's.
Is he the youngest in the tournament?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. So, but it's always fun.
Well, I think it's cool that that the parents are support the chess and play sometimes in the tournaments and. If you have a kid that just really wants to play chess, this is a great place to play chess.
Yeah. And he's very well behaved, so whenever he's always waits for his father very quietly, he doesn't do anything, so it's like very... And vice versa, the dad behaves really well. But
there's a lot of great chess games. You can walk around and look at all the chess games.
Okay, I think it's time for me to actually work a little bit. Rather than having fun here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for that.
I think.
Come back. I'm going to provide more entertainment commentary on these games. We're going to go back to board 1.
Sounds good.
Take a look at that. Thanks,
Are you
Judith.
continuing?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll take another run through of the boards, I think, for sure.
I might send the email.
Okay. So this game, King H7, F4, Black decided to go back Queen D6. This whole adventure that the Black Queen took on the Queen side has done nothing, and Black is retreating with the Queen, and White achieves a certain advantage with this pawn F5 move. Black is sort of playing almost without without a pawn here, especially as to the relationship of the pawns on the Queen side. White has a long distance plan of playing pawn to B4 and pawn to C5 and pawn to D6 and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this pawn formation is quite favorable for White. Apart from that, there's the corresponding bishops. White's bishop at E3 is commanding the board in a way that Black's bishop at G7 is not, and Black doesn't play G5 here, which is positional suicide, unless he could somehow play E4 right afterwards. He takes on F5. He's going to go down he's going to go down fighting here. And I think he's going down. This position is not very pleasant for Black at all here. And again, I think it's a problem of finding ways for Black to get counterplay. Good night, everybody who has to go to sleep. We'll be up for a couple more hours for sure following these games. We're going to go down to board 2. And Black is making inroads based on what we thought before, which was the Queen side. And White is now in a holding pattern on the Queen side. The Black Knight is dominating on D4, and White's been able to get really nothing going here. Black opens it up, and then this pawn at B3 is now a target for the Black pawn to A4. And this is close to positionally winning for Black here. Black plays A4, opening up the B line. He's going straight for the tactical for a tactical solution, and a lot of pressure on the dark squares. And so White, I'm wondering what White is thinking here. Knight E3 looks like the obvious move to play Knight D5 ASAP. possibly knight e3, knight a5 is a good response. Anyway, we'll see. White's under some pressure here, but it's possibly not completely lost. We already saw the brutal end to this game, which was out of the blue, a simple calculation by black, and white is checkmated after king b5, rook d5. So Carlos wins a quick game. We were back here, white decides to take on h5, and he's lost the queen side, and castles threatening the rook. Black must be doing well here, I think, although it's still complicated. Knight takes e4. I'm not sure is what black is thinking here. There's complications here. I mean, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, rook takes e4, and then maybe bishop to d3. Rook moves, bishop takes g6, or possibly bishop takes e7. So it's not as clear as a bell here. On board 5 in the open section, Ivanov had to sidestep with, after c5, took off the black bishop on g6. I suppose taking on d4 is impossible here. If c takes d4, maybe rook d3. Maybe rook e5. Black takes back, and then white sidesteps with rook d3. This is a little awkward. White's gotten the two bishops, but this has been somewhat awkward here. Black seems to have a good development here. He can take on d4 and play knight c6. Looks completely fine for black. Black might be thinking of other ways to try to get an advantage here. But I kind of like c takes d4 and then knight c6. All right, we'll move on here to board 6. Master Walder versus expert Askin. And back here white maneuvered the knight back over and starts a little pawn advance on the queen side. In front of his own king, but it's dangerous for both players. Michael's an aggressive player, and this suits his style, but black seems to be okay here. This is definitely a double-edged idea here of white playing pawn to b4, and he hasn't played c6. Instead, he's trying to play a game, but this is sort of, black has moves like rook d3 and bishop f6, and the white queen side could also be somewhat leaky. But too early to call here. This game has entered an endgame where this should be roughly, I mean, black, I'd like to see the black knight on d6 and the black king on e5, and then maybe black could have some winning chances almost. But he's going to have to, in order to do that, he's going to have to somehow undermine the d5 pawn. So black is better in this endgame, very slightly better, maybe even significantly better if he can find a way to reorganize his pieces and maybe win another pawn, win a pawn. If black can win a pawn here, somehow he'll be winning the game. But As it is, white can't accomplish anything on the queen side, so white needs to just sort of hold the middle. An interesting position. We'll have to see what happens. This game was just going completely fine for black here. Boom, boom. Bishop d4 is an interesting decision here. Not very obvious to me. Bishop d4, knight d4. And I'm supposing that the white, okay, so the white rook comes back there. And now white's central idea here is to evict the black knight at d4 by playing pawn to c3, and also by playing pawn to e5 and knight to e4 to play knight to f6 check or get some attack going on the dark squares. But black played a risky strategy here with this bishop d4 move. That looks like it makes more sense to play knight d4. Okay. We've got this game where white is attacking black, and black is opening the game up, but he's not going to be able to develop very easily, although white still has to find a way in. Now, this is a difficult position for black. I'm not sure that white has played the optimal moves here. Bishop c5, queen g5 is possible, or queen h4 even. And then a big attack on the dark squares. Black needs that bishop at f8, the dark square bishop, so he has to get his bishop from out of c8, but how's he going to do that? So this position is critical still for black here. We're on the top board now in the under 1600 section, and black defended after knight f4 with rook f7, and that may be the only move to avoid some horrible light square disaster. And white's thinking here, and if he's not able to find a forced continuation, this might be a good place to think. So knight g6 check, king takes h7 doesn't look conclusive to me. You can play any number of discover checks, but then the king moves back to h8, and there's no knight move that wins any material. So white's thinking, and a nice continuation might be knight e6, and then bishop f5 maybe, or something like that. Just kind of start moving in. Bishop g6, of course, is a good move, and then a rook, activating the rook at a1 over to e1. So I kind of like that, bishop g6 and rook a e1. If bishop d4, then knight e6, something's going to give here for black. White is in the driver's seat in this game for sure. Let's see if any other moves have been played. Now, white's still thinking here. Okay, we're going to do a quick rundown of the top 4 boards or so, and then I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. Winslow, Stearman. We were back here. Let's see how this game has gone a little bit further. Okay, black plays e6. All right, in this critical position, he has to challenge the light squares in some way, and he does it with e6, and white takes on e6. Black can trade queens, but probably not a good idea in that position. If queen d2, rook d2, f e6, rook f8, followed by rook d7, and white is winning. without much problem, I think, in that resulting position. So huge positional advantage. So black keeps the queens on, white sidesteps with this, trying to take control of the light squares, and black finally plays e4. So black is making the only move that gives him any hope here. And white, interestingly enough, he switches over to the d file. I was thinking that maybe he could play rook df1. That might be another strategy, but this is dominating on the d file, allows black to play f5, but white switches advantages. He's able to play rook d6 or rook d7. And this is worrisome for black. White is still retaining a significant advantage here. If f5, well, black does play f5 here. And of concern is that white can play rook g6 or rook g7. So, but those moves need to be investigated. Black is pursuing the only line of play that's available to him. So, so it's a game. It's still in progress. This is Griffith versus Ethan Boldy is white versus Kyron Griffith. And we saw black pressing here. Let's see what happened. He opens the queen side, infiltration with rook b4. White plays a3, denying the black pieces that square, b4 square. And now the knight comes to e3. Black doubles on the b file. There's a lot of pressure white's feeling here. And black opens the game up with e takes f4. And so there's a lot of targets here for black pieces, but nothing quite gelling yet here. There's infiltration points all down the b file, b3, b2, b1. White's pawns are vulnerable, but nothing quite has gelled yet. And Kyron's looking for a way to improve his position here. He plays queen d8. Okay, so maybe the idea is to play queen a5 or knight a5 or f5 and queen h4, or possibly the rook could swing over to e7. So it's a waiting move. And also it takes the queen off of the bishop g4 move. So it's kind of a high-class move. Black is not really threatening anything, and so both players are kind of maybe filling each other out a little bit. It also prevents pawn to a5, so which is a little might be a way for white to try to activate the bishop at d1 out through a4. So queen d8 is an interesting move. All right, we already saw the end of Wang Davila. We'll go to the last game concerning a master here, which is Natalia Soto Cova versus Felix Stearman. Black seems to have gotten definitely gotten an even game, but whether she can maneuver more here, knight e5 is a logical move here. White plays conservatively with f3. Finally plays a sort of that's move that is well considered, I think, here. And black has some issues to resolve here. It's a sharp game, and it could go either way. Black would like to sort of move the knight on f6, but then the pawn at e7 to worry about. So maybe knight f7 here is a move. It's a complex position. Folks, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and I'll be back with more commentary on round 5 of the Tuesday night marathon. Don't go away. Hello, folks. I'm FIDE Master Paul Whitehead. We're back here with round 5 of the Tuesday night marathon, and this is
A player, Abel Telemann.
It's Abel Telemann, is chess room director of the Mechanics Institute. Tell us, Abel, what's going on out there?
Oh yeah, no, it's a little warmer. It's because it's kind of a warm day.
Yeah,
out
nice.
there. So we have all the windows open. It's actually okay, nice. I had to relieve myself a little bit with ice cream.
Ghirardelli ice cream. Yeah.
It's basically across the street. So
we're branding it Ghirardelli San Francisco.
Yeah, this was an actual, not intentional product placement.
Right.
But no, actually, it was kind of a weird night because we had a few more forfeit games than usual, mostly in the lower section. And a lot of games have ended. I can't speak for the top boards, but a lot of the games in the lower section finished quick. So it's kind of unusual for the TNM, but
Right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Judith was telling us a little bit about the Team West tournament coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's actually, the attendance is great. Actually, I've spent the last hour just texting because typically, the week before the event, there's a lot of change that can happen, whether, a player, couldn't do it, so they're scrambling to find another player, or you have one player that wants to, change to the 2-day section versus the 3-day section. So there's a lot of adjustment. So it's busy for us because we got to stay on top of everything. But we're on top of it, and we have over 230 already registered. Our capacity is 248 for the main event, so we're close to that.
Wow.
But we have some really strong teams. We have GMs playing, and so it'll be exciting.
Okay. Because we're doing this 3-day DGT board thing.
Yeah. So
down in Burlingame,
right.
We're going to.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about the amateur team is we're going to be broadcasting with the help of Juan over here. I turn around, but he's not there. But we're going to be doing 20 DGT boards, 20. So we'll be covering 5 team matches in commentary, which will start on Sunday. So we won't be doing we will be broadcasting the games from Saturday.
Right.
But we'll do live commentary with you and Nick starting Sunday.
Grandmaster Nick Defermian.
And but one of the consequences of this is we gotta bring all our equipment that we do for our streaming over there. So we give a shout out to Mark because he's gonna have to. It's essentially the same as unplugging all this computer, stuff and taking it over to Burlingame.
So next Tuesday.
So the consequence of that, since we're going to be busy essentially Saturday, Sunday, Monday, next Tuesday night's marathon game, we're not going to do the streaming for just that week, just because we're going to be doing so much of it over the few days prior. We're just going to need a little bit of a breather. So, and I'll be announcing that in the newsletter as well. And but I think everyone will understand.
Yeah.
The games will go on. They'll be in the newsletter, but it's a lot of streaming, a lot of commentary. So we're just going to take a little break. So next Tuesday we actually won't be streaming the games, or even broadcasting the games just that week. Maybe that'll be a good opportunity for people to come down to the club and watch the games live.
Yep. Come on down Tuesday night. Next Tuesday, there won't be any live commentary, but you can always come down and watch.
There's going to be live games.
Games.
Yeah. So, exciting. And, like I said, we have that event, and we also have the, kids event on Saturday only. So, it'll be fun to see you guys there because, the room that we'll be doing the commentary and the streaming from, it's basically like a conference room. It's good size, so there's going to be a lot of space to expand. And
That'll be interesting.
So, hopefully it's fun. Hopefully the viewers think it's fun. It's a good time. It's certainly different. So, we'll see where that goes.
Okay.
How are the games going?
Well, right now, we'll look at it. This is
interesting.
Stearman versus Winslow, and Stearman is pouring on the pressure here.
Yeah, it looks... there's a lot.
Elliot needs to try to trade a rook, but even that looks difficult to do.
Very active. Very
this
active
position
pieces.
is critical. Black's position is critical here.
Wow.
This was a good plan for White to double on the G file and allow Black to play F5. It looked like the only way that Black could get any play here. This is, Black needs to find some tactical solution here. I'm not seeing exactly how he's going to do that.
And how's White, I'm guessing, want to keep putting pressure on Black's F5 pawn. And how do you...
Yeah, Rook D7 maybe is coming next. There's just different, there seems to be different plans, ways for White to sort of increase some pressure here. A4, right. A5 even.
Even like a Rook D7 and then, with that pin, bringing the bishop to D4.
To D4, yeah, exactly.
Queen C3, yeah.
And for example, if Black plays Rook F6 here, then White can trade on F6 and then play Rook down to D7 check. So Black would lose the A pawn. If Black does nothing, White's going to play maybe A4, A5, and that's going to be very difficult for Black to hold on to too as well here. So maybe Rook F7 is Black's best try here. And he needs to try to hold on to the so that way you can meet A4, A5 with B takes A5, and at least, but White's still making progress.
Seems like White can just play little incremental moves. And just build it up because
that's what he's been doing.
Black doesn't have anything. Yeah.
And there's a time difference here too. And Elliot's been under pressure for the whole game, but let's move on to board 2. And this is, Black played this kind of nice little Queen D8 move here, which did nothing, but it was a tough little position. White plays Rook G1. So White's looking for some tactical, still looking for some tactical possibilities here on the king side. Black throws the rook in and White throws the knight into, Black goes after this. So White needs to try to get something going here before all of his positional trumps, or his lack of positional, this knight A5 is very strong here.
Yeah.
The idea of taking on C4, and Black is making some progress here. He's a pawn down, but White is, White's looking for some thing here to try to do, and I'm not sure what it is.
Well, like F5, and then knight F4.
Maybe F5. Maybe F5 is a good move here. It threatens to take on G6 and then to take on F6. Yeah. And if Black plays G5, there might be the possibility of playing Rook G5 and pawn F6, or playing H4
But what about like F5,
G5,
G5, knight F4?
That's possible. But then knight takes C4.
Yeah.
And you can't play knight E6 yet because I'll take it.
But your pawn will be on F5.
Yeah, but the White queen is attacked.
Yeah, get that out. Yeah,
so there's some things here though. And a clever tactician might be able to make something out of White's chances here. So like F5, G5, even your knight F4, knight takes C4, queen takes D4, takes knight check, and knight takes D8.
I'm gonna agree with you on that on that line.
That's a weird line.
I was looking a little bit at the Nicholas Wang Carlos game. It seemed kind of.
It's mate next move, or
it's over.
King B5, Rook D5 mate.
It's over.
Yeah, Nicholas went down the tubes here. Like my commentary here.
And actually, Carlos was a last minute. I won't tell you how I got got him into the game.
Right.
Let's just say I ran into him and
Well, I think
room
both of
within the
these
chess
players
room.
move really fast.
Because his original opponent was Rui, and then
Right.
She couldn't make it. She had like some school project. So Carlos was around, but Carlos is tough. Like,
Carlos is very tough, and he's a player capable of beating a master on a given day.
Yeah. Wow.
Bishop e7 check, king b5 is the only king move, and then rook d5 is made. So,
yeah, pretty impressive. Yeah.
Carlos played a good
and
game.
Look at the time on the.
Yeah, they both just blitzed out.
Yeah, but Carlos. I mean,
Did he gain time? Did he gain time?
No, it's 2 hours. 2 hours. I was gonna say,
20 minutes.
It almost looks like he gained time on it.
Yeah. Well, both of them were playing too fast, I think.
And and this is the thing that you typically sometimes see with kids, even strong kids, is you get carried by your opponent to the pace that's not suitable, and I think that's kind of a kid mistake, not a rookie, because obviously Nicholas Wang's no rookie, but I think for kids that like to play fast, when they get carried too fast by their opponent, it takes them out of the flow of how they normally think, and got caught. Felix and Natalia, and Felix was telling me that Natalia's husband is his coach.
Rost.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's doing. Felix is doing well in this game. Black is under pressure here, and White's used a lot more time, but there's some issues here for Black with the pawn at g6, and Black played king f7 so as to move the knight at f6, but where's it going to move to that's really effective? And White still has this possibility of playing f4, and I don't know. Maybe Black should play bishop takes h3. It looks kind of strange, and then double rooks on the b file or something. I'm not sure. Then the pawn at a6 is hanging.
It seemed like that knight could do a lot more if it goes from h3 to
g5
f4,
or
f4.
Or f4 or potentially to g5. It could cause Black a lot of trouble if it ends up on that square. But I don't know if Natalia wants to take on h3. It's not. Black's position won't have many prospects. The pawn at a6 will be hanging. It's just, I'm not sure it's a move that Black really wants to play. So she's got some problems to solve here. Let's move on to Ivanov, Childress. Okay, all right. We have an interesting material imbalance here with two bishops versus knight and rook. One of those classic, classic material imbalances. White has some chances here, especially because White has the passed c pawn, but this is double-edged. I think a good player, this is the kind of position where, let's see how this happened here. Coming way back here.
Is Black down material?
Black is up material. It's up the exchange, right? But okay, so Black was better here, we thought. White had got himself into a little bit of an awkward situation. Black decides to take on c3 and then to play b5. That's very well calculated, I think.
Yeah. Oh.
Knight a6. Okay, so that's to sort of entomb the white bishop. So if bishop b3, knight takes c5, White just
I would have thought bishop b3, no?
Well, if bishop b3, knight takes c5, and there's the issue of this bishop really being worthless.
Yeah.
So White prefers to, if queen takes b5, rook takes d8. So, but black goes ahead with knight takes c5, and this is where White decides, I want to play a different kind of material thing here. White might have some trouble here. If rook takes d8, rook takes d8,
Queen E2.
Queen E2, then queen takes C3. Maybe white didn't like the look of that.
Yeah.
That queen takes C3 threatens the pawn at H3 and the rook at A1. So maybe white didn't like the look of that and decides to give up the exchange with C4. And that's what happens. Black jumps in to take the pawn at D3. Does black have a better move? I don't know. A6 doesn't trap the bishop. Bishop C6. So black jumps in here to take and takes with the rook. And that probably forces, either way, the queens are going to come off. I'm not sure. Maybe queen takes D3. And if queen D3, it's going to be very similar. Except for the white king ends up at G2. Maybe it would have been better for black to have played queen takes D3 here. So that after queen D3, rook D3, king G2, it's black's move. But here, it's still black's move. It's very similar. Very similar. The black rook might have been better at D3, I'm not sure. Black's thinking, well, black, this is an interesting...
Time difference, too.
Yeah. Well,
so good.
It looks good. It looks good. I'll have to have one when I go home. Oh, wait a minute. They don't make those at home.
I was like, go now, take over.
No, I'm fine.
And nobody wants to see that.
I'm fine. Now, this is an interesting position. It's not easy for black. To win,
the bishops look good.
This is a good time to spend a lot of time and try to think of the right thing to do for black here, because the bishops look good here. They do, and I think black maybe should have had this position with the rook on D3, and then he could have played rook A3 here maybe. So if we go back, we can see that if black had taken on D3 with the queen, then after queen takes D3, rook takes D3, attacking this, assuming white plays king G2, then rook A3 maybe. But anyway, that's getting far afield. Okay, an interesting game. Here's Walter versus Askin, and white's finally gotten in. We've been looking at this. Sharp position. White finally plays C6, and maybe
it's going to open that up.
Yeah, there was no way black was really going to be able to prevent it. If queen C6, knight A5, but then queen A4. So maybe black should have sat there with queen C6, or could have thought about it, but he didn't. He played bishop F6, C6, rook D3, very sharp. Rook C2, and that's prophylactic, defensive kind of move to bring the other rook into the game, maybe on C1. And so black is thinking. This is a very sharp game here. I wouldn't want to be either side.
Although here, black can even... Oh, wow, yeah.
It's sharp.
Yeah.
It's sharp. Let's just say it's sharp and go on. When I don't know what I know,
it's sharp.
When I don't know anything,
yeah. It has to be sharp.
I'll just move on. This is Persidsky. Oh, black has made a lot of progress here. White's actually, by playing pawn to B5, has weakened his own
it's locked it up.
situation. And black is significantly better here. But of course, black can't play knight E2 while white has the pawn here at D5. So black's better. If black can play somehow king D, black needs to win a pawn for him to get anywhere.
What's going to be the path of the knight to put some pressure? And black would love to get their king to, D4.
Askin was swindled last week by Elliot Winslow.
Yeah.
let's see what's going on in that game.
I played that game over on Chess 24, and just it was tough because I was seeing that game, and it looked like he was ahead and had a lot more opportunity, and then just changed.
This game isn't yet in swindle territory, so that we were looking at. So, but Black does look like he's got a game here. It's not clear who's winning or anything, but yeah, it's good not to get swindled. Okay, so this game, Black is significantly better, but needs to win a pawn, I think, and the knight cannot be traded for the bishop as long as this white pawn stays there on t5.
Black has almost all their pawns on dark squares except one, but
yeah. I mean, this is good for Black, but Black needs a pawn to make it really worth something. This game, Black followed this bizarre plan of exchanging his own dark squared bishop, and if White can evict this knight here by playing pawn to c3 and then play pawn to e5, that was my idea, but he's not going to be... He's going for this attack. Oh, Black looks well centralized to take care of this. This is
That's
still...
where they're at.
Yeah, this is still... White can... Yeah. It's a tense situation, folks. White can try to play f5 and queen e3 maybe, or queen e3 with the idea of playing f5. We'll see. I thought
this would be a pretty interesting game.
The Ricard Drain game. Well, Black blundered in the opening and got a horrible game, and White has been White, he can't develop his pieces here. That's his main problem, and he exchanges.
Trade that out,
but that White
his dark squares are still weak because the queen.
Yeah. Black is under serious. This is just. What is Black doing here?
He can't even push the b7.
Yeah, Rook a7 looks like just a move to resign.
Just like kind of in Go when I guess the player whose color they put their own piece down. It's like a resignation or something.
Yeah, this is. I'm not even sure. It almost looks like a mistake on the DJ. But Black. How is Black going to get get his pieces out? Yeah, that's right. Black is hoping for a miracle.
Maybe we could just say that, okay, Rook a7, that's actually a resignation move. If you ever play Rook a7, you've given up.
It's a comical move. It definitely is. All right, we won't dwell on it anymore. Here's Ilya Gimmelfarb, who was playing a great game here. Swarming in.
I would love to see him play. I mean, it's pretty certain that in the next TNM he'll be playing the up in the middle. I'd love to see that because he's been playing really well. He's the dad of Natan,
right? And
he basically started playing because I bring my kid here. I'm sitting here for 3 hours. Might as well play. But he can play.
Yeah, he can play.
He's doing really well.
And White plays queen f5 with the idea of playing knight e6. Black takes the d4, and now Black has to sacrifice the exchange. And maybe this was a legitimate strategy for Black. I'm probably the only thing that was going to help him. But can Black really survive by playing queen b6?
I mean,
it's possible. But maybe this hasn't been as well thought out by White as it could have been. Coming back here, Rook f7, White had a long think here. I wouldn't be so quick to give up the d4 pawn unless I was sure I had some continuation that was going to win by force. And White starts with this, and after Rook e7, Queen f5, and Black goes ahead and says, "Okay, I'm going to take it." We have Mr. Clemens. Yeah, the king side does look terrible, and Black does sacrifice the exchange, It's forced. I guess it was forced. Although analysis would look at queen b6. But now, after queen takes e6, bishop can, if black plays bishop b2, rook b1, and idea of coming down on rook b7. But there's still tactics. There's a lot of tactics here. It's not clear what's going to happen. So white plays queen e6. Black and knight f8 is a possibility here. Trying to get rid of this bishop.
Yeah.
Trying to get rid of the bishop.
It sort of forces.
Might force it. If
That's
bishop,
probably
then
the
if
move.
bishop f6, bishop takes f6.
Now, how do black pieces look once you get rid of that bishop on g6?
Well, black's
the two
exchanged
knights.
now, so black is fighting to get back in the game here.
But once you get rid of that, black's bishop looks good.
Yeah,
where it's at.
black's seizing his chance.
Some open space.
Yeah, he's seizing his chance. Let's see how board one is doing. This was, and black did
It's like
what?
that incremental. Yeah.
Okay, so black defended the second rank this way with rook c7, and white brings the queen up a little bit. There's your incremental move.
Yeah.
Queen d2, rook e7, queen f2. So what's the plan, Sam? I like the idea of playing a4 and a5, but with the rook on the 7, yeah, well, okay, so what's the plan, Sam?
Seems passive.
Black
Is
is
there any way to kind of
holding
the
on
issue?
here. Is white trying to double rooks on the 6th rank so that he can play bishop takes h6? I don't know. I mean, white is pressuring black here, but it's not over yet.
Is there any value? Well, maybe that gives up advantage to. If he doubles up the rooks on the 6 and playing queen d4 and kind of just getting rid of that bishop there.
You mean bishop to d4?
Bishop d4, yeah.
Maybe. You got to watch out for queen d1 check.
Yeah.
So there's always that. I think white's trying to pressure black into a mistake as well here. You know, there's a lot. Sometimes these positions, you know, the time difference is a big time difference here with black having considerably less time than white. So white's trying to keep it complicated, and we know why, because the other week I asked young Nicholas Wang how you beat these older chess players, and he said you outcalculate them. And
Is that what he said?
yeah,
Outcalculate?
flat out. I can outcalculate these old guys. So
With full confidence, yeah.
flat out said it. I was a little flabbergasted.
They get too tired.
But I had to admit he was right.
Yeah.
You know.
Actually, got a comment. We seniors need a nap.
Yeah,
very true. Just wait us out.
Nap time for Elliot. You know. Whoops, he has to keep playing chess.
I remember one time.
Oh, that's so bad.
There was a tournament, and it's funny because you know me and Judith, we constantly tell kids, take your time, focus on your moves, just don't rush it.
Right.
And then there was a tournament where Judith was playing. She played an extra rated game because somebody had gone home early.
Uh-huh.
So she jumped in, and the kid she was playing was like completely taking their time, just go slow. She was getting impatient.
And she was the one that was.
And it was pretty funny, and I know the feeling, especially for me when I play. Like, I mean, I've played a few extra rated games, and I've had good positions against strong players, but it's tiring. It's tiring, and then you fade. So it's a real thing, and you know that. So
yeah,
it takes a lot to keep it.
So,
Yeah.
and when you're defending, it becomes even more difficult. So, I'm sure Stearman is trying to keep the game complicated against Elliott's. The same can't be said here with Ethan Bolge. Has not really tried to do anything. And this game, knight a5 is threatened. I want to see how he deals. Oh, so he plays queen c3 to try to sort of.
And I'm gonna get out there.
Okay.
Analysis. Or we have Juan sitting the. I mean, he's a strong A player.
Okay, well, Juan, I've tried to get Juan to sit over here.
Come on, man. You know how to play. You better.
All right, we have Juan Sendejas for the first time, man. It's good to see you, man. Yeah. Juan has been here from the get-go.
Yeah.
From the get-go, behind the scenes, setting us up with the DGT boards, with his know-how, learning along with us how to get this done. Juan, tell us about yourself, about some of the things that you've been up to. You're a strong player too.
I am.
You're an expert.
No, I wish.
But tell us about your business, your chess business.
Oh, well, so we're trying to start this big thing that we call Chess Life.
Uh-huh.
And it's like a dream. And everything started doing 2 DGT boards here at Mechanics, and eventually grew up to 10. And now we're trying to do this big thing, trying to support the clubs around, especially the Bay Area right now.
Right, okay. So, tell us about your day job.
Oh, I'm a bartender.
He's a bartender but not just any bartender. You're a bartender on a
ferry.
On the ferry, on the San Francisco ferry system, on the commuter ferry system.
It's very fun. I use chess there every day.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
20 years.
20 years, a bartender
Yes.
on the high seas of the San Francisco Bay. That's amazing.
Right.
That's an amazing job.
That's
I think.
right.
Yeah. So, you're going to be doing DGT boards for what tournaments coming up?
I'm gonna be doing the U.S. Amateur.
The U.S.
West.
Amateur West this weekend.
and
right,
I'm gonna be helping the Las Vegas International Chess Festival also. With the DGT.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when is that?
June 22 to 28, I think.
Okay. And any other tournaments? Anything in the pipeline?
No, not yet.
Not yet, yeah. Where are you from, Juan?
Guanajuato, Mexico.
Guanajuato, Mexico. All right. I've heard good things about that town. Very good things
beautiful,
about that.
Beautiful. And
Yeah. Are you going to give a shout out to anybody in particular?
Oh.
Do you have anybody watching? Do you friends watching?
I hope so.
Okay.
I was trying to promote chess everywhere.
Right, yeah, a great promoter of chess.
Yeah.
I'm looking around here
But
in the office. What else? You want to look at some games here with me?
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, give me some, relieve me of some of my, I'm just talking and I don't know sometimes what, okay, yeah, so this game, I've been following Ethan's game and he plays a solid game, but sometimes he's not ambitious enough and out of the opening. And I think if he sharpens up his openings a little bit, he's going to be, I mean, he's already a strong expert, but to make the next jump, I think he needs a little attitude change. Yes. Like, let's play the sharp, strong openings and try to, right now he's a counterpuncher, right?
Need to be more ambitious.
He's a counterpuncher, but that's good enough to take him where he is now, like over the most of the expert players. But in order to in order to succeed against the masters, I think he needs to tweak his approach to the openings a little better, and develop a more aggressive style.
That's right.
And this game, he's white, and he's pretty much been just content to pass the ball back, and he's gotten himself into trouble with that attitude. You know, black is pressing. Black is clearly sort of pressing, and white hasn't really done much here. And so, anyway, that's my take. But on the other hand, black is not winning yet. He's holding an advantage, but white is hanging tough here, and that's kind of Ethan's style right now.
That's right.
But that's just my interpretation. Reka's saying, "Hey, Juan."
Hi, Reka. Nice to see you. I mean, nice to see you there.
Yeah. Okay, we had this game where Natalia was, I thought, maybe under a little bit of pressure here. Knight c4. Where is this knight going? Maybe it's going. This knight, other knight is going to move. It's Felix brings the knight back to this square. So it's all around here that I'm not sure. And black is having another long think. Both players are going to be in time pressure at some point here. Knight d3 is a threat here.
Felix was like 1 hour late or something.
He's gained some time here. And knight d3 is a simple threat now for white. And that black knight at c4 looks great, but where's the, maybe knight b2 now. It's a crazy looking move, but I'm trying to make knight c4 work. Knight b2? I don't know. All right. Let's move on here. There's a lot of close games. This game had this great material imbalance here. Very, very sharp. In this position, black plays knight e4, attacking the rook. The rook went to a3, and black plays back to d6, because, of course, white's threatening bishop c6 now. So I think the knight has to move. Black calculated for quite a long time here, this position here. Knight d6, of course, black would love it if white plays bishop takes d6. White's trying to prove that he has something with this two bishops versus knight and rook. Bishop c6 makes sense. Rook c8, I guess.
Can you go back to bishop f3 maybe? I mean, after that move.
Oh, okay. Come back to, let's see. But I'm wondering, can black play knight takes c4? I guess not, because the white rook will attack the knight, and then the rook and the knight are threatened. So black plays rook c8, and that's what he does. He plays bishop f3. So this is getting interesting here.
So you can take the b7 pawn. Yeah.
Right. Well, this is a little bit of a gain for black, I think, to get this pawn. Black doesn't want the rook at a8 defending this pawn forever. This is about the best that can happen here.
Yeah, he wants to
the rook at d1 is threatened.
Mm-hmm.
He
has to move the rook.
This is a problem. Well, knight takes c4 is maybe forced here.
Bishop takes,
knight takes rook. Yeah, and then rook takes pawn, and then the black rook moves. Yeah. So knight takes c4, rook a7, rook moves. I think that black has to do this. Black has to play knight c4 here. The only question, so knight takes c4. That looks like a good move. Rook a7, and then black rook moves. And then it's going to be difficult. That white a pawn is going to try to run up the board. It's a tough position, very tough. All right, let's move on to board 6. Asking, this isn't, okay, so white played c6, and after rook d3, rook c2, black is worried about white taking on b7 and plays b6. And white overprotects the c pawn. And the black rook doesn't want to move because of taking on a6. This is you know, it's not easy to see how anybody can make progress here, but maybe black can, you know, with king a7 or something. This is a another really complicated position that's hard to call, you know. The black queen is just stuck on c7 for the moment. Do you see anything, Juan?
I'm just seeing the bishop controlling the diagonal.
Yeah.
Very strong on.
Yeah, this is a
F6.
tough game though. It's like how does anybody do anything? So king a7 at least frees up the black rook on d3 to move. Okay. All right, let's move on here. It's still a complicated position. Like a lot of the games this round, it's hard to call. This is something that you could have expected from this endgame where black plays f5 and white takes. The problem for black is that he needs to get this c4 pawn, and maybe he can somehow wrangle this, create a pass pawn on the king side, put the knight on d6, and somehow distract the white bishop and the white king from defending the c4 pawn, and then, you know, once the c4 pawn goes, then the d5 pawn can go, but it's still going to be tough. But black is making progress and trying to win this game. Okay. This game, well, this is another attacking game. Very interesting. Black queen side versus king side. Here we go. Bishop e4. b4. Maybe white could have tried, maybe white in this position. Hey, thanks. See ya. How'd you do, Charles?
Not good.
Oh, okay. Got one of our players coming in, left their bag here. Maybe this is the time for white to try f5. Like, does he lose time here by playing bishop e4? b4 takes. What is black thinking now? Now black's thinking take on b4. I guess white can try bishop b7, and if you play queen b7, knight e4. But if you take bishop b7 and you take on c3, it's messy, huh?
Wow.
I would be worried about this white knight coming to e4 and coming to f6. Also, you know, white might try to play rook d2 and queen h4. This is very, and white still has f5 ideas, so it's tough. All right, another tough game. This game, black is getting squeezed here. He put his rook on a7 just to do it. And now he plays a5. Bruce sends Robert down the drain. That's terrible. Yeah, this is white is crushing black here. And that wins. Bishop d7, rook e7 check, rook e7, and then white can win by playing queen takes h7 check,
rook
and
e7.
take, and that's mate in
rook,
a couple.
Well, we have rook a7, right?
Well, now queen h7.
Queen takes, right?
Queen h7 now is crushing. Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. If he goes to f6, checkmate, right?
Yeah, it's checkmate no matter what. Well, this was a very one-sided game. Very one-sided. I expect Black to resign in a few minutes. Let's move on to this game. Wow. Okay. 3 passed pawns versus 3 passed pawns. Wow. This. Okay, so they followed my little advice here, which was to Black got rid of this light squared bishop, and Black has done well here. Black gobbles all the pawns on the queen side, but lets the white rook in, and rook c7. Now somewhere around here, okay, so white does the logical thing, which is just to mop up all the pawns over here. But
we have members asking if we're doing this broadcast in Espanol.
Oh, muy pronto. Robert, you wanna?
Muy pronto.
Joseph Roberts.
Joseph Roberts comes in.
They're gonna let him do it because I need to put the.
All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break here, and we'll be right back. Back here with Mr. Joseph Roberts, TNM player and father, proud father. How did your game go tonight?
It was a dogfight. It was a dogfight.
Which dog won?
This dog won.
Congratulations!
This dog won.
Congratulations!
I got one. I tell you what, it was one of those wins that you're fortunate to get. I have been reading. I'm seeing improvement in my game, so I can say that I'm humble. Humble and grateful.
That's good.
Yeah. Last time we talked, it was Jeremy's book, Stearman.
And are you still getting through that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it comes highly recommended. I've never read it myself.
Highly recommended.
I recommend it to people.
And I tell you, I've been having my eyes on board 10 right here. This looks like it's a slugfest too.
Well, Black has a chance here by playing. If Black loses the d5 pawn, he's lost. So let's come back here for just 1 second.
Okay.
Because White could play queen g5 check and pick up that pawn for nothing.
Right.
Instead, he plays queen e6 check and queen f7 is played. So out of small things like that, games are won and lost, as you know.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
As we all know. I'm not saying that this is losing for White, because it's definitely not, but White could have made things quite simple for himself just by playing queen g5 and queen takes d5.
Well, Paul, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that, in an analysis, like outside or above the board analysis, those things are so easy to spot out, but in game, they're almost.
So White wins the a5 pawn. White wins the a5 pawn here.
And actually, Bruce Ricard's done. The three of you can kind of break down.
All right.
So Bruce, when you're ready.
All right. We have we'll be enjoying. Those things are well. First of all, that doesn't seem to me to be completely true. Sometimes it's true that the outside observer, because we're more dispassionate when you're playing a game, your emotions are in place and you're involved with your emotions, and it makes it more difficult to make rational decisions. So the best players are very dispassionate, I think, and they observe things like from above.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed that, like with a lot of the world class matches with some of the best players in the world.
Right.
Now they're monitoring their heart rate. They're monitoring their heart rate.
Right. That doesn't. Yeah. They're using every trick in the book to try to keep things,
Generally speaking, I guess when your heart rate goes up, does that mean you're more susceptible to error, or
maybe, I don't know.
What about you?
Yeah, Bruce. We're here with Bruce Ricard.
It's actually
he'll give us some advice here.
It's actually very interesting you talking about that, because I was just realizing I used to, whenever I see something, whenever I think my opponent made a mistake, I used to instantly have my heart rate starting to jump like crazy, and I used to even, like, on long time control, when that happened, to get up and take a couple of minute walk to try to calm down, but I just couldn't. And today I had a pretty exciting game, and I did, yes.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And somehow my heart rate just stayed fairly static the whole game. So I was really happy about that aspect of my game for almost the first time in my life, I think so. So I was happy about that.
Well, yeah, congratulations.
Keeping a cool head, that's what it's called.
But that's not in any of the books.
Well, it should be. And it's in some of the books, maybe.
But I don't know how you can train that, right? How can you practice that? You just need to play, I think.
Yeah, I think Bruce, you brought up a good point. The self-awareness that when you notice it happening, stepping away, detaching yourself from the board. Okay, I think it's definitely advantageous to you, the player, than it is your opponent. But like, I don't know if you guys played a lot of poker. Same thing. It's just like when
poker is tough.
Yeah, when you're holding the winning hand, and you're the only player at the table that knows it, and you have to keep your composure.
Yeah, but that's different. That's masking your emotions. In chess, you need to master your emotions.
Ah, got it. Okay.
I think it's a big difference.
Okay.
To me, it seems like a big difference, right? Your emotional response to chess moves is going to get you into trouble, right? You need to be like super objective, right?
I'll put that in my toolbox.
Well, I think so. Know thyself is. This White's been missing some chances here, but we'll look at that later.
It's almost like Black is getting counterplayed. Those pawns start looking menacing here.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Well, Black has to try to block the c file, play King d5 and Bishop c5. So anyway, we'll come back to that. Let's look at Bruce's game here. Bruce is here, and Bruce won a relatively crushing game here. White was never in. Black made one bad move and got punished for it, and so I'm going to just run through.
Yeah.
A6, because the position's blocked, it's not such a bad move. I mean, I would prefer to develop, but Black can actually sort of get away with it.
I don't like. Okay,
maybe
I'll talk about it again in 5 moves, but like.
Maybe you could play e4 here or f3 and e4 if you really want to try to do something, or g4.
Okay, that's not too much my style. The g4 is crazy.
Well, g4 is a legitimate
and e4,
try.
Okay, sure. You know what? That might be a good move.
G4 takes, and then pawn h3 even is as a way, like a Benko gambit on the king side, to try to take advantage of these weak white
F5,
squares.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
So yeah, put that in the toolbox as well.
I got you.
Everything's in the toolbox.
It's definitely in the toolbox. Right. Okay.
Even playing pawn e4 here and then following up with pawn to f3 is a way to play this. So there's different approaches. a6, if you really want to try to, maybe take some quick advantage of that. Black is back fine with black is back on track with knight f6 here, and white is not ambitiously trying to. And I think black gets a decent game here, and now plays this bad move, knight e4.
I think knight e4 is just.
Black should develop. Black forgets about developing. Play bishop d6 or
it's
bishop
tricky,
e7.
Right? Because
here.
I mean, after bishop, like, I was looking at things
knight
with.
e4 is action, unjustified action, and he gets punished immediately. Because after white takes on e4, well, I guess it's followed up with another bad move, right? He should take back on e4.
I think everything is loose. I mean, f takes e4. I think that's the best move. F takes e4.
Yeah.
And after that, I was planning f3.
Yeah, white opens the game up to advantage.
And he cannot castle. He won't be able to castle short. I'm in time.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And if he plays,
the culprit is this one bad move, knight to e4. I mean, develop. The knight e4 is not running away. Develop the bishop at f8 and castle.
I think he was trying to tell me almost like psychological. Like you play knight e5, okay, I play knight e4. It was like you put a piece in my camp, I'll put a piece in your camp.
This black's next move.
Yeah, this is.
Brings
I think,
the white bishop into e5, and now nothing can prevent bishop h5 check. And now black's position is just in disarray. And if you could, white could play d takes c5 and try to win this endgame.
I didn't want to exchange queens. I wanted to mate him.
Well, and that's what you did.
Hey, you're vicious, Bruce.
So, no, I agree with that strategy. I'm not sure about the moves that led up to the ultimately. Black needs to.
I'm happy. Queen f2. I thought was
Queen
interesting.
h4 check is a threat.
Yeah. At this point, not really because he has g5, right? So I don't know really.
So maybe black should play bishop d7 again.
Yeah, bishop. Yeah, developing.
But then
probably,
d takes c5.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play my rook to d1. It's complicated.
So the fact is, this position is terrible for black. I mean, just terrible. And
he just spent like 5 moves developing his king side, and now I put my bishop on f3, and he cannot develop his queen side.
And this just brings more white pieces up into the attack, so it cannot be recommended. But I think black's position is beyond repair. This threatens queen takes bishop, and if white sees it, which he does, yeah.
Like Ben Feingold says, he attacked my piece, and I saw it.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the problem here. Black can't develop his queen side, and I mean, getting caught not developing is just it's like.
Yeah, here I even wanted to. Okay, another psychological thing that is very hard for me, and I think I learned recently is, I was always very much afraid of exchanging pieces. I always thought if I exchange pieces, we're getting closer to a draw. And exchanging those knights at the beginning and now exchanging those bishops, that is something that used to be very hard for me. But in this position, I don't know, I think it doesn't listen.
Black can't get his pieces out of the box. There's no way.
He was actually threatening rook d8, I think, here.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't want to let that happen, so he's still cramped.
No, black can't get out here. This is just, there's no way.
And now he's trying to play e5, I'm guessing.
Although he could have played it back there, but then rook d5. This is, if you could give black 3 or 4 moves in a row, he might be able to get his pieces out, but this is just.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Now that, and now I
mean,
almost played like he has no move.
Yeah, this is.
This
is rook a7 is a joke move.
Yeah,
but
I think it's the best move. I don't think he has anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe queen a7. I don't know. I was happy just to play king h1 here.
This is just, black is just getting pushed around. And white probably has numerous ways to win here, but goes straight for the H pawn. And even this is even better. It's a forced mate.
It is mate in 5, I think.
Yeah. Boom, boom. That's rook
Only
e7, queen h7, and mate coming up. Nice mate. Look at that. Rook d5 check. Also possible was queen g7 mate, but I like rook d5.
Oh, I like queen g7.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
So develop is the moral
You
of the
crushed
story.
him.
Develop is the moral of the story. Yeah.
Develop is definitely the moral, and develop is moral of most of the stories here.
Okay.
A lot of the stories.
I try to be
A
very
lot.
principled. I try to develop, and like there is a position in the game that I find pretty funny. Like if you go back just after he plays king e7, I guess, which is move like 15 or something. The position I think is very instructive. So like just after he like.
Yeah. So okay.
He develops his only developed piece is his king.
Yeah, that's.
And it's
pretty
interesting
good.
because the material is completely equal, but I think white is completely winning here. Because
think you're right.
like look at my
absolutely.
development.
Yeah,
My
I'd rather
development
be
is
you,
so
without a doubt.
outrageous.
So white continues to try to open the position, and development is something that never ends,
Yeah.
right? So.
And to be honest, this is something I'm a little bit upset at, like chess books. They talk about development as if it's over when the
Right.
opening is over, but always activate your pieces.
This game is still going on. Oh, he didn't block. Oh,
It's dangerous. Like white has
Well,
to be
now
very
white
careful.
is winning.
Well, now
easily.
because the king's
There
going
was
to
a
G3.
lot of mistakes here that I was noticing. For example, white, I think, can play rook takes d5 here, because if pawn to c2,
Yeah.
rook d7 check and rook c7. If black plays king e6, then I think the white can stop the pawn with rook just with rook d1 even.
Rook
would
D1
stop.
or rook d8. Yeah.
So white, the end game, there was other places too, but white is now rolling to a win here.
Couldn't he checkmate in the middle game? They were.
Why doesn't black play bishop c5 here?
Bishop c5 is strong.
yeah, block. Yeah, that's a promotion.
Well, king e2, pawn to c2,
Maybe check first?
then king d2.
Yeah. The interference
Okay.
moves are hard to see.
How's that?
And Stearman, when you're done.
Okay, we're going to take a break here a 2-minute break, and we'll be back with Josiah Stearman. Thanks, you guys. We are back with FIDE Master Hosea Stearman and International Master Elliot Winslow, whose game just finished. And Hosea, you want to take the mouse and show us the game? And we'll all make comments, or I'll try to keep mine to a minimum.
Yes, this is a pretty thematic. So you improved upon what Rui played against me.
Yeah, there's a
was
couple
E6.
of ones, but I didn't look at them.
Yeah.
I just knew that I knew that from when I saw your game from the round before.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Here, I mean, typically you play knight f6 first, and like. Because you allow.
It bother you somehow, but of course it doesn't really.
So I mean, like, I guess it doesn't matter too much.
You want this up here?
Yeah, otherwise we can't hear you.
But
your lips are moving, but.
Yeah, here normally it's like knight g4 and then knight e5.
I thought about it.
Yeah. But then I thought, so knight g4, h3.
I have a problem. Actually, you could play knight d4. That's kind of annoying.
Knight d4.
Too many knights on e7.
Knight d4, and then what if like knight ce5?
Yeah. Knight ce5. Well, then
Or knight ge5.
Okay, then you move your queen, of course. You don't do anything really stupid. Well, just like queen e2, queen e3. I was just figuring.
And then like move the other rook to. I mean, yeah, I guess it's
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
f4.
But Anyway. I mean, here you have to take with the pawn because after bishop takes f4, f5 is.
Yeah, I don't know if actually that's so bad.
Well, what would you play there? Because like my next move there is.
I mean, it seems to me that you had no play, Elliot, in these positions. So I would go back even further to see where you went wrong.
Well, I mean, like these are generally the positions that arise from this opening. So.
Right. I wouldn't play this with black. It just looks so prospectless, you know, somehow.
It's like after bishop takes e5, f4, bishop g7, f5. Like, what are you going to play there?
Bishop back to e5, maybe?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not like you're going anywhere with that f pawn, are you?
I mean, I would play f6.
Rook f3 to h3 and checkmate me?
Why
f6?
not?
Checkmate me there. Only that doesn't checkmate me either.
It's very dangerous.
White has build up. Rook could go to e1 to maybe sacrifice, to think about, you know, it's just, where does black, okay, so black
I mean, here, like.
But now white has just this beautiful pawn majority on the queen side.
I don't know why I didn't play b5.
Here?
Yeah. Makes a lot more sense.
Yes, I would tend to agree with you.
And then I might yet get f5, no, and who knows what in.
I mean, I thought if you played f5, it's bad because I play f3, and then because like the structure.
So b5, what do you do?
Okay, b5, and then I play.
What you do?
Yeah, b5 makes more sense here.
Okay, say I play like.
The minority attack.
Rook fe1 or something.
Okay, a legal move. So
and then black can play a6,
or
maybe,
rook c4
or just play a6. Yeah, rook c4.
Rook c4 is actually a little annoying for you. E4 is happening and pushing you in some sort of direction.
Yeah.
It's true that.
So what if I play? What if I stick my bishop on c5? Say like queen d2. Queen d2, king h7.
Yeah. Okay.
b4, and then bishop c5.
Wait, b4, b5, queen d2, king h7, b4.
I guess you have rook c4 there.
I better get that in while I can. Yep.
Interesting.
You're not really threatening anything.
Yeah, b5 would have been.
Would have been a little better. Yeah, white gets this ideal
I thought
pawn
about it,
structure.
and then I picked the pawn up and didn't push it all the way. I don't know what happened to me.
I mean, because after here, c4, like.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
This is ideal. Now white is playing with like a 4-2 pawn majority.
Yeah.
Well, and black only has one essential idea, which is to play f5 and e4.
I mean, I thought queen a4 was kind of. Unless your idea is to take on a2, I didn't really see what the purpose of queen a4 was. Are you trying to stop b4?
Back you off.
Well, the thing is here, like now your queen's.
So queen a, help me. Queen a2. Oh no, that's okay.
That's a different game altogether.
What is going on?
Let's be a definite improvement. I'll still be playing.
So, is the pawn completely untouchable?
It's close.
Queen takes a2, rook a1.
I could toss e4 and it gets interesting.
Queen b2, rook takes a7.
There you go. That's simple.
And then if E4...
If E4 instead of queen B2, then rook takes A2, E takes D3, and then I could take A7.
Yeah, that one I wasn't so happy about. What if E4 directly?
E4 now.
Yeah, that's suspect. Although
E4 right now.
Not entirely.
Then
Because
queen
B takes
C2.
A4. You know?
Well, E4 right now, at the very least, I could play queen E2.
Okay.
Or no,
so-
queen D2. I could play queen D2 and then take H6.
Oh, well then I can go to A3 and...
Well, okay. I looked at those kinds of lines, you're going to get mated. So. Or
Well,
at the very least, lose E4.
Let me think for a minute.
Oh, and also I could play queen E4, queen takes A2, queen takes E7. You take B3, I take A7.
I take C4.
And then I take B6, and then I'm up a pawn.
And you're
Yeah.
up.
Up a
I
pawn.
saw that, and I
Up
was
a
like,
past G
Oh, you are up a
pawn.
pawn. Does that pawn
Yeah,
stay on the
up a
board? I
past
guess it
G
does,
pawn.
doesn't it?
yeah.
Up a-
I saw that that was the very least I could get. So here I had two options: was to play queen D2, which I did, was more like dynamic, and play F4. But I also was thinking of queen E2. The idea being
You just said queen E2 twice.
no queen D2.
Oh, queen D2.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought queen E2 might have been a little bit better in hindsight, because queen E2, my idea is bishop C1, bishop B2.
Whoa.
I like that idea too.
But I thought queen E2, F5. After bishop C1, you can be annoying with queen A5.
And then bishop B2 takes.
Right. So I would have to play like A3 or something to prepare it, or play F3 in the meantime to stop E4, then play A3, bishop B2. But I thought it was a
Well,
little
you can
messy.
always do this maneuver later on too.
Well, not the way I played it.
That's true. That's true.
So here I just played straight for this, and I thought here that how come you didn't play takes F4 instead? Because I thought allowing F5 was.
Well, I had dreams of the pawns being useful. And actually, it came close to happening.
It was close, yeah.
So
But
E
so I
what
thought
about-
E takes F4, rook takes F4,
yeah, I don't like
and then maybe queen
doing
B2.
a quick rook H2.
I thought queen B2 and try
Then
to trade
bishop takes
queens.
H6.
No, my rook's on F4.
Whoops. Oh, that's right. Well, that's why you take with the bishop.
Well, but then if I take the bishop, it's not as ideal, because I want to play rook takes F4 and play
Oh,
rook
rook
D
F3 isn't
F1.
half bad either.
Well,
so if you take with the bishop,
it's
maybe
one more
black could
tempo.
play B5 or something like that.
probably not, but oh, actually maybe it's possible. But I also just didn't want to take with the bishop because you could maybe even play E5 there.
That
Okay.
I looked a bit.
Elliot, somebody's asking why didn't you play F5 against Korchnoi?
Oh yeah.
You played Korchnoi.
Yeah, he
It's the
did.
U.S. Open. It was. There must be. Who is that? Is that Nick Carlin?
It's Michael Pace.
Oh, that name sounds vaguely familiar. The joke was, I have the habit of walking around between moves, and at U.S. Open especially because you keep running into people you haven't seen for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And meanwhile, so people's, what people I know, hey, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? Hey, why didn't you play F5? Well, I don't know. It was just a move. So was Castles. And it was starting to get a little ridiculous. People I didn't know were coming up to me and asking me. And
Was like F5 winning or something?
well, it was different. Man, it turns out it wasn't winning. In fact, the game is interesting because after 40 years, I got around to putting it on a computer, and the computer not only said F5 didn't win or was anything special, but he had played this weird 98, which looked like he kind of was just trying to do something different, but actually the computer liked it. So the game was very interesting, very curious sort of Velimirovich attack.
Did you lose?
I lost.
Okay.
Go figure. But
To play Korchnoi, though, I mean,
I don't know how much time you got left. The story goes on
Wow.
for a while.
that's
We should probably get through this.
Okay, but briefly, so it turns out Tarjan, who had stunned us all by retiring cold turkey from chess and going back to school to become a library scientist, was doing the commentary, and he had suggested the move. So everybody knew about it, and the joke was that what's his name?
don't go too far afield here.
Colombo, who played Colombo?
Peter Falk.
Peter Falk was watching the tournament and was hanging out in the bar every night, even after the games, with Christensen and Sarwan and Nick Carlin and others.
Right.
And
his
so I
cigar.
imagined this guy in a raincoat coming out to me and say, I just want you to know I really liked your game, and it's really too bad you had to lose. And actually, my wife, she's really the chess player in the family, and she was wondering why didn't you play F5, but that didn't happen.
All right.
Okay, meanwhile, moving along,
Meanwhile-
why didn't I play?
So, yeah,
Why
and I thought
did you
you-
play F5?
So takes.
Yeah, and now,
I thought you were gonna play Queen G6 first. I thought that was
Oh, that's interesting.
Queen G6 first, and then after Rook DF1, then E6.
And that
But
way,
then if you
white
takes, what am I taking
distracted
with
from
the
You're taking with the pawn.
With the
d-file.
pawn?
With the pawn, trade off the 2 rooks, and then
And have these
it's-
really ugly pawns.
You have very ugly pawns, but your queen's coming to
Yeah,
B1.
I
it gets
vaguely
annoying.
thought about something like
That
that.
looks like a good plan.
Like
yeah,
right
yeah,
away.
I like that.
After
So I thought that was quite annoying. I was actually gonna play. Forgot what I was gonna play. I think
Well, you have a problem because you don't want me getting an F5 either.
I think I was gonna try Rook DF1, E6, Rook F3, and then after F5, try to play D6 myself. And then your pawns are kind of they look menacing, but I don't think they were going
They look menacing, but
I don't
they
think
are.
they-
I mean, what about F4? And then,
F4 and then Bishop F2.
and then you can't be serious, can you? So E4 loses a pawn.
So,
Okay,
folks,
who
we're
knows?
looking at Queen G6.
Rook
Um,
DF1.
I guess Queen C2 is not a. Is
I was thinking about Queen C2 with the idea of Rook F2 trading queen,
Right.
but then E6, and now on Rook F2 he plays F5.
Right, I got you. So
It actually,
she's gonna-
it actually
You
comes.
can take first on E6 after Queen C2.
well,
Queen C2, Queen G6, Queen C2, E6, pawn takes pawn.
yeah, pawn takes pawn, and then
So
Yeah.
Rook F2,
And
Rook
then-
takes F2 is legal. But even that trades queens.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about those double
Yeah,
queen
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, you're not happy in those end games.
I
It's
was trying
very
to see,
difficult.
could I possibly hold them? I never looked.
But then again,
Terrible.
so I thought E6 was just terrible,
Really?
in my opinion, because
Well, you let.
Well,
I thought
I'll
you were
tell
gonna
you-
just block
I'll
it
tell
up.
you,
I expected Rook DF1 here.
Yeah, no. This was where this is the best. This is the very nice plan by White here, which was to switch over to the D file.
Yeah, I didn't
That
expect
was
that actually.
very, very
I thought you were
powerful.
just going to play
The-
something to.
So is Queen G6 the right move here?
Queen G6, Rook D6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Queen E4 or something like that.
Yeah.
D6, I do have sort of F6, but it's not.
I mean,
So-
you have to play F6 there.
This really this move separated the men from the boys. Is this Rook FD5? That was a very, very good move.
Yeah, but also Rook D to D5 is probably also good because it stops F5.
Uh huh.
But I kind of
That's
like
true.
this.
I expected something different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought you were just going to double on the F5.
Oh yeah,
Right.
doubling on F5 is also quite
I thought
quite
when
good.
the
It's
F1
good,
got
but
going,
but
you
this
were
is
risking-
this looked the way this.
I mean, I
This
saw
just dominates.
I
the
saw that
position.
it forced to what we got in the game, and I was quite content with that. So.
Right, and A4 and A5 is also just going to be a winning endgame idea too.
So yeah, Queen C1 here. I actually thought you should have thought a little bit more about Queen H5.
I thought it was I thought that I had seen Queen C2, Queen C1, and Queen D2 coming.
Well, Queen
Queen
D2,
D2 I
Rook
can play.
C6.
Right.
And then here I was even also thinking Rook C6 is interesting. I didn't see any
There's something
follow-up.
wrong.
Well, Bishop takes H6, I'd
Yeah,
play.
right, right.
And then after Rook takes D6, I thought maybe you could somehow move your bishop away and get something going, but probably not.
After trading on D6 first.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Rook C6, Bishop H6, Rook G6, Rook C6, Bishop E5 or something.
Then I think I take F8 and it
Yeah.
works out.
Yeah.
But I thought there might be something. I don't know. My senses were tingling here. So Queen H5, Rook here.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought I was actually going to get the pawns going somehow.
I think here actually
No,
I should have played.
I really screw up.
I probably should have played Rook E6 first, because actually here I think Rook F7 is the best move.
This Rook to F7.
This Rook to F7 because after Queen F2, I mean Rook F7 because after Rook E6 I can't take E4 immediately because takes and then Rook F1's mate.
Uh-huh.
So after Rook E6, Rook F6, I can no longer take E4. So here it gave me an extra tempo to play Queen F2, then Rook E6.
Got you.
Yeah, I might hold my rooks up.
Yeah, so here, because now he played Rook F7, but now Rook E6 and Black's in complete zugzwang. He
Yeah,
can
so-
never defend E4.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not even as loose one. You're taking anyway.
Well, yeah, but like, there's nothing, no good moves for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so here I even have time to play H3 before I take E4.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just stupid.
And then here, yeah. Oh, I thought there was actually interesting here. So here, Rook E2,
Yeah.
Queen F3, right?
Yeah.
And then Queen takes F5.
And then what?
Queen takes F5, yeah.
It's legal, but
No, you get 2 rooks for a queen.
is it 2 rooks?
Yeah, because after Rook takes F5, Bishop takes D4, King H2, Bishop E5. and I have to take on
That's
e5.
kind of almost interesting, but not really.
Not really, because in the end I'll have a queen and 2 pawns,
And my king's
and your
exposed.
king's exposed. But I thought it was your best try.
I didn't see. I saw some other attempt at a variation of that didn't work, but I didn't see that. In this particular one, it was pretty good. So what was that? Rook check.
Rook E2,
No, rook
queen
E2,
Right.
queen F3, queen takes F5.
Yeah, I was already short on time and not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
Queen F3, queen takes F5 would have been fun.
Yeah, but I think the queen versus 2 rooks, it's quite overwhelming. I think
Worth a try.
it is worth a try. Yeah, but here,
Yeah, this is hopeless.
I mean, it looks good somewhat, but yeah, it's nothing much for you.
Yeah, this is just stupid. Flail resign.
Okay.
Oh.
A nice game. A nice
So
game.
you're talking. Have you played this a number of times besides this?
No, this is my second time playing this.
So Rudy Wang was the first time.
Yes.
Okay, so because you're talking about as if there were other. I mean, there's a couple other games in the database I've seen which aren't very much.
Oh well, no, but like I had prepped this. I've been prepping this for some time now, so I kind of know.
I'm suspicious that whether it leads to anything, but who knows?
I mean, I think I've found that white.
Yeah, I've seen this played.
Black, he has to either know what they're doing or white gets a comfortable position. So.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, most of my openings I play, white doesn't get anything. So.
Guess what? We've noticed.
Well,
Yeah.
you're playing some sophisticated.
But actually, I think here in these lines, I think white does get something.
Yeah. Well, white has the advantage of the first move, no matter what. The positions can be to your taste is one of the most important things out of the opening, in my opinion. You know.
It's good that you throw that in every 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, what else have I? Yeah.
I should probably be heading out now.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. So, what's your score in the tournament?
4.5.
4.5
And
out of
I'll
5.
be actually playing Nicholas Wang
Oh, yeah, the kid.
Yeah.
Is that right?
because he got a full point buy this round.
Oh wait.
Okay.
What happened?
Rui didn't show up.
Oh, she just didn't show up.
Yeah.
Well, he got murdered by
Yeah, he did by Carlos, but that game doesn't matter. It's actually rated.
Right, and I think that it was played in a lighthearted
that a
fashion,
round- was that a-
certainly by Carlos.
Well, I mean, he plays all his games in lighthearted.
Yeah, that's true.
Was that a round 4 game? First round 4? Or was it an extra rated game?
No, it was actually rated game because.
Oh, today.
Roy
Yeah,
didn't
today.
show up.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So it's funny. Nicholas is going to get 4 whites in a row.
is that right?
Yeah,
Why?
because he played Mike twice with white.
Oh, that's right.
Mike?
That's
Mike
Walder.
Walder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first one doesn't.
No, I'm saying like in theory. He
In
got 4
theory,
whites
he's got
right?
4
Okay.
whites
Yeah.
in a row.
And he just played white against Carlos, and he's going to get white against me.
Okay, but only one of them. Only
Two of them,
Two of
two of
those
them,
games
yeah.
is actually true.
All right. Well,
It's
thanks.
still funny, though.
Thanks, you guys. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. And thanks, Elliot and Hosea. Taking a short. Back here with International Master Elliot Winslow, round 5 of the TNM, winding down here. We've got, let's see, this is board 2, Ethan Boldy versus Kyron Griffith. And this is White getting a little bit of a kingside attack going here.
Well, with his extra pawn also.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, this one. So what's going on?
What is going on here?
Youth wants to know. There's this knight f3 check angle, but black can just. Well, what is going on? This is the current position.
This is the current position.
I thought there was a pawn on g6. Oh, that was earlier. Pawn h takes g6.
This is the current
I
position.
see. So if
White
did
is
black just
thinking,
miss? Did black just miss? He was hanging on f6. Otherwise, he had knight f3 check.
Well, he still might have had it, I guess. Okay.
Yeah,
so f5 was
made on
played.
g6 or something.
F5 was played.
Okay, so.
What do you think's going on here, Elliot?
Well,
Kyron has 3 minutes left.
Well, e takes f5 is the obvious first move, but then I'm thinking some knight on f3 check, and then there's a problem, or 2 or 3.
Yeah, bishop. If bishop takes
Rook
knight
takes
f3
F2
check, and something is going,
Rook takes
or
f2
rook
check,
f3
crushing him.
check. So
Likelihood.
Yikes! It doesn't look like White can take on f5.
What's the time situation, or don't we know?
We do
right
know.
in front of us.
It's in front of us,
Okay,
but
so-
not in front of our viewers.
Okay, so Chiron has 3 minutes and a half or so, and no, Chiron's white. No, Chiron's black.
I don't know how your dad's doing, Daniel.
Perloff.
And happy birthday, Grandma.
Grandma. Who's that?
Daniel Perloff. It's Grandma. It's
okay.
So,
I got to adjust on who's white. So Chiron is the one throwing the bomb at him with f5.
Yeah, and
White has to do something about that little problem
of knight f3 check.
Yeah, it's
and White
possible.
plays rook
rook
b2
takes. So of course, black would take back
with check.
Okay,
and that's what happens.
So always looking for those Arabian mates.
Knight d3 here? Yeah, that's a little...
He played king h1, asking for trouble.
Well, if the king comes up, that might be asking for trouble.
But the c-pawn has not been taken yet, but sooner or later.
Black can play queen c4, but there's
no real threat with it.
Right.
It's amazing how that bishop
Maybe
covers
White
so many
can play
squares.
knight e7 or something.
Or he takes f5, simply. Because there's nothing's dangerous. Oh, queen takes c4, e takes f5, knight at d to f3. That's kind of interesting. Because if queen takes c4...
Rook h2 mate.
Yeah. Well,
oh, nice variation.
There it is. He played it.
Okay, so folks, Elliot just pointed out the variation. E takes f5, knight d f3, queen takes c4.
Of course, black. Well, no, black can't take back.
Rook h2 mate. And maybe that's what will happen. But we're going to quickly run to
next.
Natalia's
Oh, yeah, what's
game.
happening in that game? That game was wide up.
Wow. Okay.
Material is still even.
Let's see. Rook f. We're going to go back here just to here.
Yeah, I remember seeing there. This is what it looked like when I walked out. Well, they're moving fast.
Okay, got very exciting.
Why
here.
are they moving fast? They've got lots of time. Oh, they don't have lots of time.
I'm replaying the game.
Uh-huh.
Okay, black played knight h7. Black played knight h7.
Okay.
We're looking at this. Can white play knight d3? Oh, then, okay. White played knight d1. Wasn't knight g3?
No, there's bishop takes c3 wins material.
Oh, yeah, okay. Knight b4?
Yeah, just take back.
And then bishop takes c4?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's a good question.
Well, it wasn't played.
Then there's that, yeah.
Knight takes g5. H takes g5.
King
and the
G8.
black king goes back to g8. Okay.
Dreams of f3, but like knight e5 or something.
Right.
Yeah, this is
knight b1. What does that have to do with anything?
I guess if a3 didn't work, he wants to play a3 and
that's
mess up the
knight
rook.
b1 can't be the right. Was knight b1
Let's look.
even a
Back
move?
one. Okay, so maybe. Well, a3 it's annoying for black getting pushed around.
Okay, well the black knight goes to e5, attacking f3. White defends.
How boring.
And the black bishop finally comes into the game.
I'm surprised there was no rook F4 there.
And white gets his
it
wonderful A3
his
move
wish.
in.
Oh, now he's attacking across the board.
And white gets F4,
Oh,
knight
well,
D3.
okay.
Look at this, king C2,
Good Lord.
C4.
Whoa. Everything.
These kind of tactics are right up Natalia's alley usually.
Mm.
Bishop D3.
Uh-oh, must take with the rook. Oh,
It's the two knights versus
this
the
alley
two
bit is not working
bishops.
out too well. What's going on here? Oh, no. There goes the F pawn.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, the A pawn.
A-pawn.
That surprised me. Whoa, wait a minute.
Okay, it's
This
a,
is- okay,
oh
looks-
no, white is
Oh, this looks bad.
white is under a
Where's the
huge
checkmate?
attack here.
Where is the checkmate? Oh, King A. Is this the game?
Yeah, this is the game.
Well, it's over. King A3, Bishop C5 or something. That looks like mate to
Bishop,
me.
where D4?
I'm sorry, Bishop C4, Bishop D4 to C5.
Yeah. All right, so Natalia is.
Oh, maybe there's Knight B3. It's still legal on the only move. What is it? Why did that take so long? You gotta wonder.
Let's
Okay,
see.
where's the mate? We know there's a mate.
Bishop
here.
B2 looks like even Bishop B2
Well, then you can
check.
take it. You could take it somehow. I just thought Bishop D4 is the end of the world.
Well, it might be.
Knight B3, Rook C3. Yeah.
Knight B3, Rook takes C4.
Also good.
Yeah. Okay, so this game
That's
is
over.
this
Next.
game is pretty much over.
Sorry, Felix.
Let's go on to and Ivanov lost to Childress.
Whoa! Look, all his pawns are going away.
This was I want to go back
Well,
and
we've got to
see
go
how
back a lot.
Jason-
This is hopeless.
So this was the situation, and Black played Rook D4, which I thought he had to play Knight C4, but he can actually play
This is
Rook
fine.
D4, King G3. Oh, instead of Bishop E5, I
Get
guess
rid of the two bishops.
if Bishop
Tell you
E5, Knight C4, I guess is even more emphatically
Emphatic.
strong. So King G3, Knight E4 check. White tries to hold on to the two bishops. But this is, Black still needs to
Yeah, I could get it
scoop
off.
up the A pawn.
Well, he's got Rook A4. It's getting scooped.
Yeah.
It's a scoop. Okay.
Okay.
And young.
White's holding on to.
There it goes.
There goes the A pawn.
Ugh.
And White King is heading in the wrong direction.
Where should he be
I mean,
going?
he
What, to
should
G3?
stay over there.
I guess, but it's. I'm pretty sure it's his loss. I mean, he's got an extra pawn.
That's hopeless. Bishop
Yeah,
takes
this is
D5.
ridiculous. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well played. Got a big
Yep,
win
yep.
for Jason Childress here. There can be no escape here.
Ugh.
for-
Do you guys want?
No, I think we have enough. We have enough visitor. Yeah.
Okay, next. It's over.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay, what do we got? Walder Askin.
Walder
That is a
Askin.
classic mainline Caracan slip up, and White blacks up a pawn for nothing. And I don't know, can he possibly
This looks
hold
like a win for Black.
Yeah, that's my suspicion. King E4 or King C4, pick one. Oh, King E4. If King C4, Knight A5 checks, annoying. Yeah, this is.
Well, if King E4, Knight C5 check, oh, then you can take it and go back to D5. This is hopeless.
Yeah,
All right.
pretty much.
All right. Let's
So
move
you can see how
on.
he slipped up. I don't know when you last looked at it,
Um,
because it was quite a while ago that he lost the C pawn. He pushed the C pawn down the board, and Black just passed by and surrounded it, like here. That pawn actually.
yeah, after King A7, was there? It looked like both players were having a little trouble making
Yeah, White needs
progress
a way in.
here.
I would
I don't
think
think
A4,
we-
A5, but he didn't do it.
Well,
Oh,
A4 will
yeah,
drop the
yeah.
A4 will drop the knight. I think
Oh, yeah,
White's
good
in
point.
White's under a lot of pressure here. It's not
Yes,
clear exactly how Black can improve his position, but White exchanging rooks here.
Yeah, and there goes the pawn, because he can't
He can't
guard
play
the pawn
queen
and he can't
C4.
hang C2.
Yeah,
And this
and
he
this
just
is
went
this.
for being down a pawn, but this is
Yeah,
not good.
and probably to avoid queen C3, he has to do this, and this is a lost endgame. But Black goes in for it this way. Yeah.
He's in a hurry to play G4. I don't know why.
Black is thinking.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't get his king up to D3 either. But too late. Okay.
Okay, this is Bush Persitsky.
This is the under 2,000 section.
This is no. This is still
part
in
of
the
it.
open.
Really? Okay.
Part of the open section. This is. This is looks like it's turned out. Black has played so hard to win this that he's come close to losing us. Let's see how this exactly happened. Black did everything he was supposed to do here. Except for he doesn't want to lose both pawns. The king is going the wrong way.
Whoa, king d6. There's nothing over there. Why would he play king d6? Oh well, you'll never know.
Yeah, this is
inexplicable.
Oh, he has
to
to take. He has to take the pawn.
Okay, that's a good reason.
King d6, bishop f7.
Okay.
Bring the king into e5. I don't think black can afford to lose both these pawns.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. H pawn against a knight, the worst one. What we went the wrong way there too. Maybe I don't know.
This is gonna happen. We're gonna have to leave this one to the computers, folks. Black.
Oh, this is dangerous. Oh no. Through a good checker. This is ridiculous. It's just over.
That's it. White wins.
Okay.
Argo,
so
Persinsky. Oh my gosh.
What happened to Jensen? He just didn't show up, I guess.
He called in.
Oh, he did. Okay. So what is this? This looks like a checkmate.
White's just played rook h6, denying black the possibility of playing h5. So even if the queens come off...
Yeah, why do you do that? What was that? Oh, there was some danger. Queen f4, rook c1 check. Oh, knight f1. There's nothing. He should have put his queen on f4.
So black... What is black...
Back up one move. Why did he do that? What if just queen f4? Isn't that just kachingable?
Rook h3.
Hmm?
Rook takes h3.
Oh, okay, very good.
Okay. Rook h6 is an interesting move.
Or he could, trades in black. No, black can't play queen takes e4 because knight takes e4 wins a knight. So he could have traded and played queen e3. That would have. Well, then he's got rook g8 as a defense still.
White says white. So rook h6 at least sets up the idea of playing something.
Yeah, playing something. Yeah. Something's always good.
Yeah, maybe the idea of playing queen f4. Yeah. How does white get in here?
I don't know. Knight f3.
Yeah.
That's hanging
Watch
your
queen.
Oh, this is dangerous. I don't know.
There have been some crazy
black
games.
Has some winning chances there.
Yeah, I agree. All right. We've seen this game, this horrible game, and this game was ultimately won by white. Which it should have been. I'm not sure that the road to the win was correct.
This is the father. Are they father and son? Or
Yes.
Are they big brother?
Yeah.
Gimmelfarb,
yeah. Okay, so let's see. Queen f4, f5.
Oh, more moves by quite a bit.
Rook trade back there.
Oh, no, they haven't. Oh, there are.
He played knight e3.
Well, that's interesting. Let's think about this.
So the idea is knight f5 check or takes f5.
Well, that's actually quite
Queen f7.
Defending f5.
And threatening knight e3.
Oh,
maybe.
That could be good.
Oh, that's a good move.
Okay, material is actually even. That's quite amazing.
And white is thinking. Does white...
Oh, that's all that's been played.
So knight e3...
At times.
Yeah.
White's under 3 minutes and black has got a minute and 36.
So knight e3 is a big threat here, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, you win the bishop with check, and then you trade the knight. Yeah, that's crushing.
Yeah.
So... Does white have knight takes f5 check? He does.
What, knight takes f5 check?
Why not? What is he thinking? Oh, he didn't.
Okay, so let's see. If he had played knight f5...
I think you take.
Knight takes f5.
Pawn takes or something. Now, there's no immediate crushing move threatened for white, but I mean, it looks like you're moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, the rooks, you're going to miss that.
Well, then queen d5 check.
Aha. I can take with the queen on f5.
Right.
Yeah, knight takes, queen takes. And you trade queens.
And then white's maybe
better than all those h-pawns, or rook pawns, I would say.
Yeah.
But black's rook's
white played
position.
rook f1 instead.
Okay, what does that do for him? Oh, pawn takes e4. Uh-oh.
Okay, so queen e4 is possible.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, what's going on? Queen takes he played it.
That's what he played.
And rook f2. Everything's protected by black except for the d pawn. Rook to
the rook goes
G1.
back to
Oh my goodness.
G1.
Oh, snuff.
Ah,
Oh, that puts him out of his misery, so to speak. But he'll play a mate. What are the odds on his playing the mate?
rook takes H4
Oh,
check.
that's crushing. I can't watch.
King G2.
Ooh. Okay, where does black go? There's no threat. Is the
Queen
stupid thing.
F4. Queen F6.
Well, there might be some. Queen F4 is like threatens mate, so let's go with that one.
Ooh, I like that. Queen F4.
Yeah. And it
And
covers
it threatens
G4
the
just in
knight.
case. Oh, the knight, the mate on H2.
Yeah.
Arg.
Queen F4 looks like a winning move here by Kyron.
And he's savoring the moment. He's got a little over a minute. It's kind of hard not to see it.
Yeah.
What can white do? Nothing. There's like
Knight F1.
no, that's
Then Queen
Rook-
G5.
rook G4. Yeah, you found it. Okay, and that should put.
Well, Knight F1 is still.
Okay, which mate will Ethan play?
What about Knight F1 here?
Rook G4 is.
Bishop G4.
Oh, you have that. I didn't notice. That's a good question. Okay, so I don't believe it.
Knight F1, Knight D3 maybe.
Yeah, or Queen
crashing
G5 and then
into
Knight
Queen-
D3 check.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah. Okay.
winning the queen.
All right.
And that
Game
is
pretty much over. Let's see how Soto Cova's doing.
ooh.
Ooh,
Well, she's got this game in pretty bagged.
King C1.
Oh no!
This is okay.
where's the win?
Black is enjoying herself.
Yes, savoring the moment, as it were.
Jeez.
I would push the A pawn. Oh yeah,
Yeah, white is practically in
this is
Zugzwang.
this is annoying too. It is pretty much Zugzwang. Or is
So-
it? I can move the rook.
The
But
rook,
where? When the rook has nothing to do.
Yeah,
Oh, wait a minute.
there's no mate. Oh, Bishop B2, epaulette mate.
Oh,
Bishop
that is
B2
mate.
mate.
Oh no, he'll see it.
Oh,
She'll,
she'll
she, sir.
see it. Yeah, Bishop B2 is mate.
It's not an epaulette mate. What are you talking about? And it's not a.
Oh, she misses
ooh.
it. You know, Natalia has been missing some things.
Yeah, well. Oh,
She missed in the
she
last.
lost. And look, the bishop's been traded off. She could conceivably draw this.
Well,
I don't want to
Bishop
bet on it.
D2,
Oh yeah, that's horrible. And into the
and
pawn
then,
ending.
and then Rook D5 check.
Yeah, into the pawn ending. That's the nice way to do it.
And
And
now Rook D5 check.
he has 97 check, which is meaningless. Not now. I mean, after
yeah.
rook takes rook. Just king f7 and pick it off. But not king f8. Then it's a draw, I think. Yeah, it would be a draw. Yep.
All right, she found another way to win it.
Yeah, and he's done on time. He's got 18 seconds left. Oh, his clock stopped. That can only mean one thing.
Yeah.
He must have resigned.
Okay, a nice win by Natalia.
Yeah, well,
there.
ignore the missing mate one, but okay.
Walter.
How does this look? Ugh. Oof, ugh, ugh. Oh, look at that poor knight. Well, knight c5, you never know. Maybe he'll take it.
This game is looking pretty bad for white.
Yeah.
Bush, Persitsky. This is ridiculous here. Oh, it's law.
What was that? What was that
Resigned.
quote? Even here, he persisted.
Persitsky.
Have you tried that yet?
No, I haven't.
There's got to be a good way. Oh, what's this?
Okay.
Argo Leskiller.
After Rook H6,
Something
Black
crazy
played
happened.
Queen D4.
Oh,
And
Queen's
then,
off.
And then Knight E4 with the idea of Knight G5.
Oh
and
no, mate, not mate. It is mate, or it's worse. Knight takes f7 check. It just might be good enough. You could play Rook takes f7. That's the easy
Rook
way.
F3, you mean?
Yeah, Rook takes f3. Sorry.
And then Rook F3.
And then just Rook to a7 and Rook check and King and f7. Oh, actually, the Rook on f3 stops the pawn.
Yeah.
But that would be the torture method. Because you push him off the f file with your king.
Black is, yeah.
Or do you? Actually, no, he's got f1 and f4, but still.
Well, if you can take the A4 pawn.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right. Or not to mention just King G2 here.
Yeah, and white's got more time. Then this knight takes e5. Who knows?
Make more time to make mistakes. All right.
And
Back up to Kyron.
what's left? Oh,
And the
it's
game
over.
ends into mate.
Yeah,
Okay.
as it does.
What
What was the mate? We have to go look. How do you get his king all the way over there?
I don't know. White somehow managed to get more.
Oh, that's a lot of moves. Oh man.
Let's see what happened.
Back. Boy, they made a lot of moves. That's impressive in its own right. Okay, so Queen F4 we last saw. Move 47. Okay.
And White played Knight F1.
Knight F1. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
forward. So Knight F1. Queen check. Oh, block. Uh-oh. Well, what's that? Wins the queen. How mundane. And into the endgame.
Okay. All right, enough.
What do you mean enough? I'm having a great time. It's weird that you don't even know that there's more moves. Okay, it is kind of. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Now you're enjoying yourself. Oh,
okay.
An efficient denouement. And in this corner.
What happened here? Rook D5 check, Rook A1. Oh, that can't be.
Oh, it's illegal. Yeah. So that's.
My guess is the game is over, and Natalia won.
Yes.
Not in that way. So, folks, I think we are okay. Here's Walter Askin, and
he did
Askin is queening with check.
Oh, he'll resign.
Yeah.
Does he have enough? Yeah, he has. There's no ticking.
Okay.
So that's done.
I think we're done.
I'll
here,
get that off the board.
And I'm going to say good night. But first, I'm going to remind people to meet up with us for the Amateur Team West. Are you going to play in that? Are you not playing in that at all?
No, I'm taking
a hiatus.
Yes, a nice weekend. I may go by and hang out a bit.
I'm going to be there with Nick on Sunday and Monday. But not on Saturday. But we're having DGT analysis of the top 20 boards.
Yeah, it's amazing. We'll be scrambling
for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And Nick and I will be providing live commentary on Sunday and Monday.
Who's providing the other 10 boards?
I think it's Juan. Yeah.
Wow, he's really gone crazy.
Yeah.
So he's become a
mogul,
a DGT board,
mogul,
DGT board investor.
All right. Thank you, everybody who's watching tonight. On behalf of the Mechanics Institute and all the great people that have helped me, and of course the audience,
which mostly is.
All right.
Michael Pace
See
and
you,
Daniel Krylov. Well.
And one more announcement: we will not be here on the next Tuesday, but on the following Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there'll be all the transferring of equipment from.
But is there a round?
Yeah, they'll be around. Oh, yeah, they'll be around. But there won't be the commentary.
Will there be the boards?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think so.
Makes it hard to record the games.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Very good. Bye.
See you next week.